welcome back to the Project Manga Podcast, where we cover One Piece, My Hero Academia, Black Clover, Mashle, Dr. Stone, and Jujutsu Kaisen week to week. Back this week covering Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 14. I'm your host, Knox.
And I'm Nickums.
And before we get into the discussion tonight, of course, we'd like you to take a look at the description down below. That's going to be where you find our link tree. That's going to have all of our links for everything from social media accounts on Twitter to online communities through Discord, ways that you can listen to the Project Manga Podcast anywhere you normally listen to your podcast, and ways that you can support what we do here by visiting our online store or our Patreon. But getting into the chapters tonight, we got one hell of a week with a full roster. Jumping into Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 141, the front of the back.
This was straight gas. It was oh my god.
This high octane gas, as Jujutsu Kaisen is known for. But not without its lore and world building and exposition that it always finds a way to pack very tightly in between this action. I love personally how we kind of get a flashback to Gojo telling Yuji things. This is a scene that we didn't really get in the main timeline, while Yuji was actually being taught things directly from Gojo in real time. So it's cool to know that obviously time passed where we didn't see them talking, that we're getting these kind of moments while Gojo is still in the box, of course. So it's cool to see his face here, but it's just nice to know that like we're going to be getting little bits potentially of more of Gojo's teachings to the whole crew, as we focus on them, hopefully.
That's a great point. I love that. It is great though. He's remembering the lesson and being like, yeah, but it wasn't actually a lesson. He just told me that I could one day do it, but we're not going to focus on it now. So it's like, damn it, I actually haven't learned this yet. But he's like trying. He's like intuitively trying to like do it without being taught, right? But just didn't end up doing it well enough. He's never practiced, obviously.
And Gojo like makes a point about bringing up Slaughter Demon, which was that first curse tool that he gave Yuji, and I'm sitting here going like, well, you had Slaughter Demon before, like sure it was a last resort, but you still kind of handled that thing, you know what I mean? So you have like a little bit, even though you weren't like actually like you didn't sit down and do like maybe target practice with it or something, or channeling practice or something like that. Like he's still, I forgot that he had Slaughter Demon. So like when he picks up this knife and he's kind of like, I was like, what? And then I was like, oh wait, no, he kind of rocked the knife in the beginning of the series. So
he knows how to use a knife more or less. I mean, he's good at everything physical, right? But he just does not know how to fully imbue his weapon with cursed energy, which would help to hockey it up or whatever against Yuta or whatever.
Right, absolutely. But I love how even though, like obviously we talked about the choreography, I think the panels were super sick of him jumping off the hood of the car and jumping into the Jeep. That shit was so sick. I was like, yes, this is where Gege really, really shines, is like this is the environmental usage. I remember or the background like shit that is used in combat too. I remember well, not only have they been throwing cars in Jujutsu Kaisen back and forth, but also I remember in the Shibuya incident when they were fighting Awakasa, the Netero like Chino Latino dude. But just like that scene with the with the or not the helicopter, but Nue, came and like swooped up behind him, and then they had the string, you know what I'm saying? And then
like the wire,
he wrapped him up with the wire and then like kicked himself through the the window of the skyscraper, and then Nue disconnected, and then he fell. I just remember like the perspectives and whatnot in that stretch of illustration was just like so dynamic, and it really does feel like action movie scenes whenever
this is like an action movie to me.
Yes.
I just think it's hilarious though. Like he jumps through the only SUV around, and of course there's like a survival knife in it, right? Like in America it'd be like a soccer ball. Or I guess maybe a gun. Would it be sick if he like jumps in there and pulls out a gun and you just like, where the fuck did you get a gun?
Like whoa, those don't just be laying in the back of seats in this country.
Right. But it's fine. No, it's cool. Like it's cool to see him like pull out a knife.
Yes. I love that because, I'm sitting here thinking, how is Yuji going to fight this thing? You know what I mean? It's obviously going to be a bunch of dodging until he can land a good blow, or he's going to get hit a bunch. But actually him grabbing a knife, you know what I'm saying, was totally unexpected and super cool to see that, especially with the flashback to Slaughter Demon there. And I love how even though Yuta slashes his stomach open, he's still like, he reacts to it. He's like, oh shit. But then instantly like kicks the sword down into the ground and then fucking breaks it. And I was just like, yo. And this is all while he's still thinking about the damage he just took. So it's like Yuji on the fly is a problem, bro.
It's interesting, like, that he got slashed in the stomach here, right? Because earlier in the chapter, page 3, Yuji is thinking in his head as he's like running away, right? Like, as long as I can steal my body with cursed energy, I don't fear blades. And the panel, the flashback panel in the back there is that same battle with that, inverse guy, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting. I went back and like there was not really a time where Yuji took a really, really solid hit from a knife. So it's an interesting like panel to bring up. He did actually get hit in the stomach though, right? Remember, like
he got
there was
slashed.
That scene.
I thought he got slashed like in the arm once, and then he was like, that's the only time I remember him getting slashed against Inverse.
Right. It was just no. There was like that one, but there's also one where like he was really close in, and the dude like was doing like an EIE like kind of slash. Just pipped him in the stomach, just a touch. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm thinking like maybe he did actually hit him a little harder than I thought back then, and maybe he was doing cursed energy like in his midsection or something, because like he's kind of alluding to the fact that maybe I was doing that before, or maybe I could have done that before or something,
And I remember Megumi in that fight being like, yo, are you good? After that slash, and he's like, yeah, I'm straight, bro. And then he like stands back up or whatever. So that is cool to flash back to that, because I do remember thinking that like, oh, it must have not been that big of it. But no, it definitely could have been a real slash, you know what I mean? And he just ate that shit. That's cool.
Right.
That's really cool. For
sure.
Yeah.
So then, like, after Yuji does get, like, held by Rika. Okay, first, Rika's officially here.
Yes, Rika is actually physically doing things in our face. That's such a crazy panel to get.
And I honestly do not know what to think about, like, the fact that she was dispelled, right? In volume 0 or whatever, right? So it's like, what happened? Like, was she not dispelled?
Mm-hmm.
And we were, talking before, I forget if it was on the show or like in our chat or whatever, just like, is that why Yuta went to Africa? Like went abroad, like to do something to bring her back? You know what I mean? Like, I just honestly don't, I cannot explain the fact that we thought she was dispelled, but now she is obviously here.
Right. And obviously this is meant to be like something that we are probably supposed to have no idea why, for the answer.
Right.
But it's, and I'm trying to think of things that could, lead to, or things from the history of the story that we could use, you know what I mean, here. But
sure.
I literally have no idea. So as far as, I mean, what I said last week, I think I said, was that this is like not tried and true Rika, but like a facsimile of Rika, to some degree, like some kind of less potent version. Maybe
sure.
I don't know how to explain it, but I'm thinking that this is not the same Rika still as the prequel. In some way.
The fact that it's like a large, looks the same kind of face, the cursed spirit, right. as Rika, I feel like it could be Rika. And there's there's another interesting point about Rika's appearance here that I think is interesting if it is the real Rika, right? Because so she holds down Yuji.
Yep.
Yuji gets stabbed really bad.
Real bad.
Real bad. He's got the blood coming out the mouth. He's looking down like, oh fuck, know, and Yuji's even like, I'm sorry, bro, But then this is so interesting, like Sukuna, he's like
Sukuna reacts.
And then he reacts and he smiles. And so here is my suggestion, my thought about
what you got?
Actually, Marnie, this is Marnie, or whatever,
Okay, Marnie.
Brought this one up. Sukuna is the king of curses. Rika is the queen of curses.
Yes.
Is he like, oh shit, she's here?
He could be reacting to Rika, but
like
he would have seen Rika
king
before the stab. Yes, king and queen, absolutely. And I would love if Sukuna was reacting to Rika here. Because then that creates. Like Sukuna's always like interested in something, you know what I mean? He's interested in Megumi, obviously, for reasons, and then he's kind of, even though he doesn't really like Mahito, he's still interested enough in him to get reaction panels of like Sukuna, in his innate domain. But then like Rika here is another reason for him to react, absolutely. And I like how now that Mahito is gone and things like that, we have a new potential interest, of Sukuna apart from Megumi, but. For some reason,
could be Megumi.
It also could be Megumi that he's reacting to, which would be crazy for Megumi to pull up right now and be like, "Oh shit, Megumi's here." But see, like the fact that Sukuna reacts after the stab, makes me think that it can't be Rika, because otherwise we could have gotten a reaction panel from him, unless this is all happening
like immediate.
Unless it was all happening like unless this is all happening within like a second or something like that. But obviously some time is passing. They're having a conversation. Right. So I would assume that if Sukuna was reacting to Rika, it would have been sometime before the stab. But if it's not Megumi, I want to say that Sukuna is reacting because he can feel that his techniques are like effectively carved into Yuji's soul now at this point.
Oh.
And like obviously you could just say, okay, Sukuna's gonna come out here. I don't want Sukuna to come out here. I think that Sukuna coming out here, even though it has been a really long time since the last time he came out specifically because of the damage Yuji was taking. I believe the last time he did that was like chapter 8. You know what I mean? So like we could see him here for that reason and it wouldn't feel weird, but I still think it's a little bit too close to Shibuya for him to completely come out. So the only, which it looked like he was like, might have been like ready to do when he did the, you know what I mean? When he was like, God damn it, I gotta go save this kid. Because he doesn't want to die.
Like he did look like he was hunching over a little bit, like he was about to get up from his chair.
You know what I mean? He's been playing, you know, video games, lean back the whole time. And all of a sudden, you like score one too many touchdowns. You got to sit up, like, all right, let me get serious. You know what I'm saying? He kind of looked like he was doing that. Yeah. Like, all right, I got to go activate. But then all of a sudden, he's like, oh, I might not need to because Megumi's here, or because now Megumi coming. I mean, like, this is clear, like, he's stabbed him directly, like, through his, like, solar plexus or his sternum or some shit.
That's right through his heart.
Yeah, or right through his heart. You know, like, this is...
Center of the chest.
Yeah, this is, like, fatal. This should be something akin to fatal damage. So, like, what could Megumi showing up really do here for that? You know what I mean? Like, does Megumi have a healing technique? Does Megumi... Like, either way, even if this is Megumi and he's happy about that, if Yuji's taking fatal damage, Sukuna still has to do something about that, I feel.
But I feel like it doesn't... Megumi's presence... Sukuna does not need to be happy about Megumi to save Yuji, right? So I'm pretty sure Sukuna still has in his back pocket that, you know, contract he made with Yuji saying, like, anytime I want, one time... or whatever,
sure, yeah.
I can activate for 1 minute. I can take over your body for 1 minute. And so maybe what he's excited about is that, oh, good. Like, he was like, crap, like, Yuji's gonna die before I could do something to Megumi. But now Megumi's here, so damn, I actually have time. I could activate right now, and I have 1 minute to do whatever it is he wants to do with him, right? Maybe.
Yeah, but he can't kill. I believe the condition on the... Well, no, actually, if I remember the condition, I think it changed. But I remember him saying, give me a minute. And then Yuji's like, yeah, right. He's like, all right, fine. Then I won't kill anyone during that minute. And then Yuji was like, all right, that sounds a little bit better. You know what I mean? But like, still no. And then,
but wasn't it that then they're like, he was like, no, but then they fought. It's like, oh, hey, fine. If you beat me, then I won't kill anyone or something like that.
Sure,
I don't know.
Yeah. It was something like that.
Something around that.
But then whatever it ended up being the agreement, I think one of the stipulations was like condition 1, I get to do this. Condition 2, you forget this agreement or whatever. So like,
yes,
yeah. So Yuji doesn't remember, and then he should be able to come out here. But I mean, if he wants Megumi, it would have to be for like a conversation because I'm pretty sure that I can't kill anyone during that minute stipulation is still there. I just want to say that it is. I could go back and double check, but for the time being. My theory for this reaction of Sukuna that I'm sticking with for now is techniques. I think Yuji gets Sukuna's techniques here. I don't know.
And so what do we do with them? What's he gonna do with them?
Right now you'd want to say the techniques, I guess, heal him to some. I don't know, because obviously if it were to be like a reversed curse technique situation, then I think Sukuna would have to take over for that, because I don't think one of the techniques that he would get would be reverse cursed healing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It would be something akin to, you know, dismantle or cleave or something poison related or something. I don't know. Right. Either way.
But as you said, like Yuji seems toast here. You know, like doesn't matter. Like toast, needs to be saved his life or whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
Right. So then maybe it is Megumi then, because then if it's Megumi pulls up, Sukuna still comes out, heals the body. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to think of how Yuji... And now this could just not be fatal damage. I mean, it looks pretty fatal to me. Yeah. But like, if it is fatal damage, which we can assume that it is, then I think Sukuna has to come out to heal him, unless another healer is close by.
Sure.
But I don't know. Yeah. That's a tough one, man. But I think we have all the ideas on the table as far as what we think is going to happen there with that.
So then we get confirmation that Naoya does have Naobito's ability. It is that. So that's why he's so fast. Naobito was the fastest right after Gojo.
Right.
It's like the self-proclaimed fastest or whatever.
Yeah.
And Naoya also fast.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, is it the same technique? Is it like a slightly different technique? No, it's just the exact same technique. That's tight as hell. I think it's cool.
Right. Now it could be the same technique, but then we were talking about like, you know, the differences between the technique, even though it's inherited. Now you could have his own spin on it in the form of like 60 FPS instead of 24 or whatever.
Right.
Now I saw a coloring of this panel on Twitter, and the way that it was colored, it showed Choso in like a very crisp, clean like window of like a screen. Like it looked very HD, and I'm thinking back to Naobito, you know, and how his, you know, I don't remember ever seeing it colored, but obviously in manga form, it looks a little bit more old school, grainier, you know what I mean? Like less, you know, less definition, you know what I mean? So I'm like thinking in my mind, like, that this is somehow in like upgraded version of Naobito's, and it's just a clearer definition.
But wasn't Naobito's 4K?
I think, no, he was saying
he said 4K.
He was like 4K this, 60 FPS that. Yeah. But it sounded like he was complaining. You know what I mean? It sounded like he was complaining. Maybe because he was thinking of Naoya having a better version of his technique, and how Naoya always like says like, "Oh man, I got 4K." You know what I'm saying? I got 60 frames. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sitting
now
here
that you say that,
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking that Naobito was saying all that during the Dagon scenes because he was just like, man, I got the tightest shit, you know what I'm saying? But these young whippersnappers think, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I took it. But either way, that coloring made me like think of that. I think that would be really cool. But look at the choreography on this. So like if you look at this like situation, it feels like to me, because so bottom of 16, you see Choso kind of like looking around.
Right.
And at first when I read this, I thought that the illustration, you know, the wavy impact or movement illustration on the ground was, you know, Choso kind of whipping around and looking. But I think what it is now you're dipping around behind him, because you can see that shadow there. And then I think, you know, you can see that shadow behind the pillar. Yeah. So I think that's now you're whipping around, and then obviously he comes out from behind the left of Choso, taps him, and then I think he runs back around the other way to whip back around it so he can have the momentum on his right fist again, because he taps him with his right hand. Then I mean, like, trying to think of him just like turning around in front of him to make that punch doesn't feel right. So I think he turned back around just to show off his speed. Like he's literally playing with him and showing him like, I'm not to be trifled with, son. I can hit you from literally any position at any time. I feel like this is a huge speed flex from Naoya that he's doing right now.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
Yeah, like excessive
as you were explaining that, I was watching it happen. You know, what I mean, on the page. Like that's well done. That's exactly what would happen for sure.
Wow, yeah, look at that, just snapping him, and it looks like Naoya is like kind of starting to put together that he might be like half cursed, because he's like, you're tough, seriously, who are you? It sounds like he should have taken way more damage by now, according to Naoya, but he's not just a human, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is, plus he's got flowing red scale, so it could just be like blood defense that he's just like not aware of too. But I want to say that Naoya is putting together like some curse kind of stuff here, like, oh, this isn't an actual human that I'm fighting right now.
he is saying like, who are you? Instead of like, what are you? If it was what are you, I would 100% agree with you. Though, who are you could imply the same kind of things, right? Like you are so powerful that I feel like I should know who you are, right? Like I'm a very high up member of, sorcerer society, right? Like I feel like I should know who you are. Who are you, right? If you were a person, I'd know who you were.
Yes.
So like, you're what are you? Who are you? Kind of thing. I can see it being in that area for sure.
I just feel like he's like, I don't know, because obviously with the blood stuff, Choso doesn't really have the opportunity to use. I mean, like he says here, forget about convergence. I can't even control the blood outside of my body. And I think that's just because Naoya is moving too quickly for him to use any kind of channeling based attacks. Yeah. So obviously. But if he was able to use those blood attacks, then I feel like Naoya might be sharp enough to like put together that he's not, human, because obviously you're using a lot of blood, and like bloods can't like humans can't really survive with that much blood of their own outside of their body, so he can maybe break it down like that, but he doesn't even get a chance to use his blood that way. So
Right.
The only real way he could tell is through Choso's defense, I guess. So maybe he's not putting that together. But
sure.
That was just something that I had thought about.
Yeah. No, I think it's possible. It could be in that direction for sure. But damn, this statement from Choso at the end. Of course, I mean it's of course what he would say. But like now, it's not the 9 siblings, the 9 curse wombs. No, it's 10 siblings now, right? Because obviously Yuji is included.
Yeah, and I don't think
he's really convinced.
Yeah, no, he's 100% certain, and it's so funny. And the flowing red scale stack, we've seen him use this before, but I don't remember his facial markings like changing to this degree. Do you?
I remember the ones pointing down towards his mouth, but I don't. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I do recall this patterning on someone. I'm pretty sure it was him.
Yeah.
Or was it? I mean, was it Noritoshi Kamo, like the younger?
Maybe
someone did this. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I just feel like this is like the most like powered up that we've seen this man. You know what I'm saying?
That could be the stack. You know what I mean? Like he's done flowing red scale before, but stack could be. I don't remember the battle from between Yuji and him before. So,
maybe the arrows represent like how far stacked up he is, because it looks like he's got 4 arrows or 3 arrows.
3
arrows per line. You know what I'm saying? So maybe this is triple stack. We only saw a double stack before or something, or something like that. But man, he's about to turn up. I wonder, because this is essentially gear second, so we know he gets like a speed increase to some degree. I wonder if that's enough for Naoya. I don't think it is. I genuinely want to believe that Naoya is indeed faster than Naobito, and the title that he had was like self-imposed, but it came from narration. You know what I mean? So when it comes from narration, you'd want to assume that like the information is kind of like the information that unless it said self-proclaimed, which it didn't. It said just second fastest behind Gojo, and it sounded like the narration would just be right, and it would be talking about like what's true in reality, maybe.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I just if Naoya's slower, well, then I guess it doesn't, because we're gonna have more Naoya in the story than Naobito, we want to assume. So if he is slower, I guess it doesn't really matter. But I want to assume that it's faster because Naobito already had his time and he came and went, and now it's the Naoya show. So it's like, I want to say, no, I'm actually faster than my dad. He just never wanted to admit it, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it could be for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. What a chapter though. I don't think I had anything else for Jujutsu Kaisen though.
No, that's all I had as well.
All right, cool. All right, getting into Dr. Stone, chapter 188, What I Once Sought to Destroy.
This chapter, holy shit!
This chapter was so unexpected. Yo. We now, okay, so last week we were like really worried about this chapter, and we were like thinking of all the things that could happen when they run into this, attack or whatever, but I don't think any of us were expecting it to actually be as bad as like we were saying it could be last week, you know what I mean? And this is like the worst situation that we've ever seen in this story.
Absolutely.
Period.
And it starts off, they're doing so well at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, when I was first reading it, I was kind of like, oh wow, nice. Like they're doing really well. And I feel like I should have noticed, right? Like that this is too well. This is too well for the third page in the chapter, right? Like, wait a minute, like shouldn't the win be at the end of the chapter? It's like, wait a minute, So then, oh my God, then.
Yes, bro. Okay, so when I'm going through this chapter for the first time, I'm like, all right, we have to lead Senku and everyone to victory. I thought I was going to turn this page and it was just going to be like, blah, or not like, they just get like shot, but maybe like they had to dip into a bush or something. The automatic fire was too much, but no, they crushed right through these dudes' muzzles. Hyoga hits the little whoop, whoop, whoop. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, I'm going back and forth this whole chapter because Kohaku says my back feels warm. So I was like, oh no, did a bullet accidentally like get her in the back? But then she's like, no, it's warm because of this. And I was like, oh, okay, they're good. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden the MMA chick tries to push a fucking tree over on him, and obviously Tsukasa blocks. And I'm like, okay, here's the MMA fighter confrontation. And then boom, 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 everything's cool. He fucking crushes her. And I was not expecting him to just crush her. Like that. Seriously. I think what I said last week was like they're gonna recognize each other, and then she's gonna have like a newfound respect and appreciation, or something for Tsukasa, and like not fuck with them or something, or maybe become an ally, mid fight or something. But But no, she's about to smoke and is ready to go out swinging, which she does, gets crushed. And then, oh my god, that page turn with the blood coming from Tsukasa's chest, bro.
Holy cow. His face on that page, on page 10.
Yeah.
His face in that bottom right panel, he looks like he has like a smirk, like a slight smile on his face because and his eyebrows, you know, he looks like so like shit. Like this is it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, his eye. It's painful.
It's very painful, especially the silhouette in the bottom left.
Yeah.
Of just the stark black silhouette of just exploding with blood, and it's like, wait, no, this isn't just a gunshot. Like, this is real damage, bro. Like, this motherfucker got riddled with bullets, and then Hyoga jumps in. Same thing. And I'm like, wait, where's like the Dr. Stone hint that everything is going to be okay somehow? You know what I mean? Like, usually whenever like serious damage like this is taken, there's like something by the end of the chapter that tells you. Now, there is a line of dialogue here where Tsukasa is like, hey, you know, we got some examples of it bringing someone out of a coma. You know what I'm saying? It brought me out of my, you know, near death state. You know what I'm saying? Can it even revive dead people? You know, so I'm like, okay, well, there's that, but how's that going to make sense? Since it doesn't make sense right now, I'm going to assume that's not possible, and we're right back to stakes. And then I think about it, and it's like, well, I know that these people were petrified before any real damage was done, but they were still petrified and then shattered. You know what I mean? So then you put all the pieces back together, drop the fluid on them, and it fixes them. So like, between the state of them being petrified and revived, it doesn't really matter what happens because they'll live. But I just want to assume that is just like the evidence that makes this okay. And it's like, if your body was shattered to a million pieces, then and you could be put back together and the shit heals you, then maybe it's good enough to just bring you back from right out death. I don't know.
So I will say that I don't. There is one condition I think that would make sense for me, right? After you die, right, there is like a time period, right? Like after your electrical signals in your brain stop or whatever, right? Like you have a few minutes, maybe, if you could miraculously jumpstart your heart and your brain with, you know, whatever that thing is, defibrillator. And that might work. So what I'm kind of hoping at the very end here, right? So we have, you know, page 18, 19, we talk about the beautiful scene later, but like we see Senku at the end, right?
Yes.
So, and on page 14, top of 14, we have over the forest, we hear gunshots, right?
Yep.
So it could be, what if like the base heard the gunshots and they're like, wow, just in case, let's fire off the Medusa right now.
Yeah, they would have to hit the Medusa like right now.
Because then it would freeze Hyoga in this kind of intermediate state, you know what I mean? Where like he's dead, he's definitely dead, but maybe he could be brought back right now. But if they waited until like an hour or two or a day from now, I mean, you're a dead body, right? You're not a person anymore or whatever.
So they either have to hit the Medusa immediately, or they don't hit the Medusa immediately, find these bodies later, and then that just basically confirms that the petrification will bring you back from absolute death. Because they're not, like, honestly, Tsukasa, Hyoga, and Kohaku do not die permanently right here in this scene. Like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, that would be ridiculous. That would be crazy, like, for Dr. Stone. But I personally just can't see this being their final moments in the whole story.
But only right now, only Hyoga is dead, right?
Sure. But this is still, like, fatal damage. Like, all right, so, like, okay, so let's say that they don't.
They're just very wounded.
Right. Let's say that they don't fire the Medusa off right now, and it is an hour or two later.
Right.
Like Tsukasa and Kohaku should die from these injuries in that time.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like they're literally riddled with bullets. You know what I mean? So they either drop the Medusa right now, freeze Hyoga in this like after death state where you can still be revived, freeze Tsukasa and Kohaku in this near death state, obviously where they can still be revived, or the Medusa can bring you back from death.
I guess, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't know.
You better hope it freezes a dead corpse too, and not just a living being.
Yeah. Oh no, that's right.
It doesn't freeze deer. I mean, how can it freeze a living human, and I guess maybe it would freeze a dead human. Maybe all the dead humans are frozen underground. I don't know. Like,
oh shit.
God.
What a question.
Damn. But okay, so like after Tsukasa gets blown up, Hyoga gets blown up. First off, right after Tsukasa, right? Page 11, look at Kohaku's eyes. She is, I have never seen her freaking out so badly in this whole series.
Yeah, wow.
Her eyes are pained. She looks like she's about to burst out crying or screaming or going ape shit, you know what I mean? Like, wow.
Yeah, these are very intense reactions from Kohaku. We've definitely never seen her look like this for literally any reason.
No way.
I feel like she has a bunch of incredibly drawn reaction panels throughout this chapter. Pretty much every facial expression she makes is one of the best facial expressions I've seen Boichi draw in this comic. Right. You know what I mean? Like, this is, as much as this is a whole team chapter, like I feel like the emotional focus is obviously centered around Kohaku, and she just carries like all of the emotional weight of this chapter. Obviously, Tsukasa's like dream sequence, like with the cosmos and the double spread, is crazy. Is super crazy.
I get huge Berserk vibes from this scene, right? That scene right after young Guts has just fought off a pack of wolves, and or maybe it's just before he fights the pack of wolves. Anyway, he's running, he's on the run, he's like dying essentially, and then he like falls over in this like kind of lake, this shallow lake, and looking up at the cosmos, at the Milky Way or whatever, like, ooh. And similarly beautiful here by Boichi, obviously. I mean, and goddamn, like, Tsukasa, like, thinking to himself about, I feel like it's a double thing, right? One, he is buying into the kingdom of science generally, but he's thinking scientifically, right? In this panel where he's like, perhaps all that matters is that the target's cellular structure is preserved, right? Like, that's not something an MMA fighter says all the time.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because he's hanging out with Senku, he's become Senku's friend, and he's now fully bought into the idea of not this kingdom of science, but of science itself. You know what I mean? Like, very beautiful, very beautiful.
I love it. And I love how, you know, it obviously is playing against that, you know, what I once sought to destroy has become a shining star of hope. This is like one of the best ways to show progress when you have such a diametrically opposing viewpoint on one side, you know, and the other, and they're both flawed, but obviously Senku's, you know, the protagonist, and he has the more, you know, all-inclusive ideology. So even though they're both flawed, you still kind of root for Senku and his ideology, but they're both spitting. They definitely were both have amazing points. That's what made Stone Wars so compelling to me, is that the moral quandary was so tight. You know what I mean?
Right.
And to see, you know, Tsukasa, who had all of this reason and logic on his side, but still come to terms with the fact that he chose the wrong side of that war, was an amazing growth catalyst for him. And then to further go back and reflect on it again as he's dying again, you know what I mean? And actually just bring that ideology full circle was just beautifully written and, you know, drawn by Riichiro and Boichi. I think this was one of the more perfect scenes that I've seen in Dr. Stone, you know what I mean?
This chapter might be like the best chapter of Dr. Stone, you know what I mean? Like, it's
got
fantastic.
everything.
It's got everything.
It's literally got everything.
And this last double spread, this last page with Tsukasa. I mean, I leave the rest to you, Senku, with the shining light behind him, and he's bleeding out his mouth. It just doesn't. It really feels like this is a death scene.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Real.
And it, of course, all you need to complete the death scene is the eyes to be closed, right? Or to glaze over this guy's dead way. So he's definitely not 100% confirmed dead here.
Yes.
But goddamn, does this look like
he is on his way out. The pearly gates are calling his name. You got the light shining down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's nighttime.
Yeah.
It's nighttime.
I was just about to say, like, I'm pretty sure it's not morning.
Fuck.
That's so fucked up, dude. But I have hopes. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's, you know, it's Dr. Stone. It's a little on the campier side, you know, of Shonen Jump. But this is drastic damage, man. Like, Riichiro's got to have something amazing for this, which I'm sure he does. Or they're just dead. And this is one of the biggest subversions of expectations that I've seen in a while.
What if all three of them do die? Is this the first time that three major like protagonists die in one fight in one chapter
right,
since like what Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah.
Like
oh.
When is the last time that's
Dragon
happened?
Ball Z, man. That's like the only time
I'm sure there's a fight like where Yamcha, Chaozu, and Tien all die, right? Mm-hmm. So it's
versus Nappa,
happened.
right?
Yeah. Right. I'm pretty sure, but but was that in one chapter? I feel like that probably wasn't in one chapter.
Yeah, I think that was spread
out. In a whole fight. Yeah. This is one chapter.
Dude, this is crazy. That's why I want to say it's not if it is permanent, then like one of the campier stories in Shonen Jump just like pulled one of the biggest like twist killings ever. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. This doesn't happen in Dr. Stone. He wants to save everyone. Senku said no one dies.
Seriously.
And I believed him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, another thing to consider. One final point for me here.
Yeah.
So again, Hyuga, like dead. I think it's safe to say Hyuga currently is dead. Tsukasa commented like, yep, he's done.
Yeah, he's out of here.
But we've not gotten that similar confirmation for Tsukasa and Kohaku, and Suika and Francois are here in the area.
Oh yeah, sure.
Maybe we can get some emergency medical attention here. Like we get a scene like, okay, the battle's over. You are a soldier. We are medics. Let us fix these people. They're out of the fight, right? Yeah. Like go proceed to the base. Let us save these two. You know what I mean? We could get that. Yeah.
Man, I hope we get something, bro, because I can't lose. Like Hyuga, all right, but like Tsukasa and Kohaku, man, I even like I'm not saying I don't care about Hyuga, but like
he went out good.
He went out great. I feel like he went out great and doesn't even need to be revived. But
I feel like we were commenting too, like sometime recently, that like you can never see his mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and it makes him seem more evil, right? Like he's his intentions are hidden. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sort of. But you can see his mouth here.
You can see his mouth. Where do you see his mouth?
Page 12.
Oh,
Page 12, you do see the top of his mouth. Like his mouth is open. You see his upper lip and his upper teeth, I guess, is what I would consider that, right? And so like I feel like he's finally saying how he feels. He's finally on the team. Like I'm on your team. You have a job. I saved your life intentionally because I'm here now. But now I'm dead. But like I think he went out beautifully. I think he went out beautifully.
I didn't even notice that you could see his mouth. Wild.
Oh.
I feel like I haven't wanted a next chapter this intensely since like One Piece 999 or like seriously, you know what I mean, like which was relatively recently, but like before then it's been like I'm like, man, I really can't wait a whole week, you know what I mean? Like ugh.
Shit.
Yeah, but
that's all I had though.
You good?
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think I'm good too, man. Wow. All right, getting into Mashle, Magic and Muscles, chapter 53, Mash Burn Dead and the Wand of Healing. What's good?
Holy shit. Yeah. Wait, this exposition on the first page.
Yeah, this is
it's
big.
Like, yes, this is so interesting. This is super cool.
Yeah, this is
13 ancient wands are said to exist in the magic. Yo!
Yes, 13 ancient wands, 13 Olympian gods, you know what I'm
saying? What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
like major ones? The Pantheon or whatever. Like
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because you have the Shazam gods, and then you have like, so you have like you can name all the super popular ones: Zeus, Ares. Right. You know what I mean? We already saw Ares. You know.
Yeah.
So I
didn't even think about the 13 aspect or whatever. You know. Yeah, that's awesome.
I literally just like as soon as you verbally said 13 wands again, I was like, oh shit, it's like 13 gods, bro. Yeah, but
and they're called the Master Canes.
Yes, the Master Canes. Yes, bro. And so I wanted to like say, because I mean, if we are going on the Olympian or the Greek gods, situation here, man, I don't know everything about that stuff, and I'm trying to think of who this god of redirecting damage, or maybe because he says my wand is special, so the healing or the damage redirection situation like comes from the wand, obviously. which we can assume is what has created this stand, behind Carpaccio. It's like, man, what god is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no idea like what god that would be, but
this isn't like a third level spell, right?
Sure, yeah.
So
you're right,
so this could just be, I don't know. It is interesting because obviously we're assuming here, and I had this question written down too. Like, is Rain's wand a master cane, right? So like, is it that? And that's where I'm like a little confused. Is it that Rain has sword magic, and if you go third level sword magic, your wand transforms into that super badass wand, like a battle axe kind of thing,
right?
And then you can do that partisan thing. But that's his bloodline magic, isn't it? And is in Carpaccio, like, is this his bloodline magic, or is this the wand's magic? And he has a different, like, where's his line from? His line on his face that he got when he was born, right?
Yeah.
Like, is that the wand type, and that you show up with that mark on your face to the wand shop, and the wand shop's like, boop boop boop, okay, here's your wand coming up, oh shit, it's one of the really good ones from in the back or whatever, and then you're like, yeah, holy shit, I got a master cane. Like, did you get it because of your line, or because of something else? And does he have a different magic type? You know what I mean? Like, I'm slightly confused, and it matters because, like, you would assume that, like, if it was something like 13 canes, 13 Roman gods, say, boom, then Rain would be one of these 13.
Right.
I don't know.
Because so Rain, when he used his third spell, or his triple liner spell, that's when we got the dialogue bubble for Ares. You know what I mean? And that's when it went into the Black Partisan, and then it was like Master Cane stuff was happening. So maybe like because the way that Carpaccio said it, he said, that's why my ability to be hurt, or my inability to be hurt, is the Master Cane's blessing. It's been continuously active since it chose me. That's why from the moment I was born, I've never felt pain.
It is the moment he was born.
Right. So he says the moment I was born. So like, if these canes all just like show up, like when you're born because you're a master cane, then like, I want to say Rain's magic, and I want to even say that like the cane doesn't even give you anything. It just gives you, it just gives you more, like more mana. You know what I mean?
He just said from the moment you're born, he hasn't felt pain. It isn't as if he was born with a silver spoon in his hand, aka the master cane in his hand, right? Like, he was born a regular baby, and then somehow found the master cane and was compatible with it, and they were like, oh yeah, approved, like, yep, this is your wand or whatever, like, no one else can use it in some way, right?
Sure.
So it's his, but so it could be that Rain, but like, he already did the third in the partisan or whatever, right?
Like, I want to say that it just, like, the cane, the wand chooses you because you're a master cane, but you don't actually see master cane stuff until, like, it's only master cane stuff once you're at like a certain like level. Like, once you, like, for example, for Rain, like, he taps into his third line and then gets like the actual master cane buff once he's in that state. But he is just a master cane wielder at all times because he was chosen by one.
Sure. So his master cane ability, would be the ability on a third level spell to have your wand transform into that badass thing and to have access to that partisan or something.
Yeah, when we have such a little example, like so few examples to pull from, it's tough because this is an entirely separate master cane situation than we saw with Rain. So it's going to be really hard trying to find common denominators with just two, with just two characters to reference, and they're both wildly different. But there's got to be a common denominator.
You would assume so. Like,
besides just being chosen.
I would assume that a lot of people are looking at this and thinking about these master canes and thinking about Rain, right? But like, I wonder if this is like a red herring, like if Rain is completely unrelated to this. But I have the same thought, right? I feel like they have to be related somehow.
Yeah, and I have no idea like how to
and like the divine visionaries, right? It's like the sand cane and the light cane. So like the cane symbolism is certainly like prevalent throughout the story throughout powerful mages or whatever. So
right. It's a tough one, man, and it's going to be one of those things where once we get the maybe there isn't anything like, maybe there is no common denominator that links everything besides the fact that they're just chosen, and then once you're chosen, it's all wildly different effects that come out at wildly different times. That's fine. That's fine too. But for now, I'm trying to think of how it all links together because I want there to be, you know, a firm power system with rules. You know what I mean? So like I want things to link together and have explanations that refer back to other things. You know what I mean? So,
I almost want to say that it's just as likely that Rain and Carpaccio are somehow related with this as much as Mash being related to this, right? Like, what if Mash is one of the 13 Master Cane users, and his Master Cane's ability is like, you have no magic, but your physical power is 1 million times the power of a regular human.
Oh shit! Now I'm trying.
And he's never right. Like,
now I'm trying to think
there's
if
no real connection that's been said yet.
Hercules.
Right. We literally were talking about Hercules.
Fits narratively with that.
Yeah.
Because because he's like half a god or whatever, I'm pretty sure.
Sure, yeah.
But he doesn't have
Hercules,
he doesn't have he just is buff, hide of the Nemean lion
but
stuff,
he's not
damage
immortal.
Reflection. He's not he's not
not until the end of the movie, I guess.
Yeah, he's not he can't call lightning bolts, he's not super fast like Hermes. He doesn't have the special, ultimate abilities of the other 13, Greek gods or whatever.
Right.
But he's still strong as shit without those powers. So if this is, I just think it's so crazy how it is literally now obviously there is more than 13 Olympian gods, but it is 13 is the number that's used for them, and 13 Master Canes, one of them is Ares. If this is following that narrative route, then Mash being Hercules makes a lot of sense, and him being a Master Cane without magic because he's hurt, that would just be a mind-blowing situation. The
muscle cane.
Yeah, the muscle cane, yo. Oh, wait. So, no. Because since they're all called canes in the Divine Visionaries, that doesn't mean they're all Master Canes.
No. I'm just saying that
that's just the thought that I just got, and I was like, wait, would that be a thing? Yeah.
I'm mostly just trying to tie things together because and using the cane wording, the symbology of the cane, right? That's at least tying it together somewhat. I don't think there's I almost can't draw any connections between any of these people currently. Yeah. But that's obviously the first thing that comes to your mind is trying to, connect them and figure out, as you said earlier, right? Figure out the overarching rule set of the magic system that explains all of these in a way that makes sense. And currently, I don't fully see it yet.
Yeah, me neither.
But
the potential is there. Yeah, the potential is
definitely
definitely there for it.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
What's something that started off as something we couldn't imagine having any kind of anything that could be considered anywhere close to a hard magic system. You know what I mean? We thought we were getting legitimate Harry Potter stuff, or just woo, I wave my wand and then that's it type shit. You know what I mean? But it is a little bit more nuanced than that. It is a little bit deeper, than hand wavy, whoosh spells. You know what I mean? So anything can really happen for Mashle. I mean, it's always going to have that feeling, no matter how great anything seems. There's always going to be that feeling looming in the background that the gaggier aspect of the story could prevent it from really developing in any kind of solid way. But as far as it's gone right now, despite the gags, we've been getting a lot of depth, a lot of nuance in these kind of situations. So, and
I will also say that it is very common in any shonen story. The moment you introduce a new level to the magic system, it always seems a little weird, right? You're like, I don't get it. How does this fit in? How does this connect to this and whatever? And so that's just because it's a whole new category of rules.
Right.
And so we just haven't gotten the exposition or the examples in battles or in just general ability usage to tie them together. But we will at some point. So the potential is still there. This is very early for these Master Canes and all these stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And another thing that I think that Komoto likes to do in this manga is give his antagonists really stoic expressions. You know what I mean? Carpaccio, emotionless. Abel, emotionless. Abyss Razor wore a mask like the whole time, and then when he finally took it off, he barely made any facial expressions either. You know what I mean? So I think that that's a cool choice. I don't know if there's like any more reason behind it than just like wanting to not humanize, the characters too much because you want to, you want to hate them or something. I don't know, but I think it's weird how I feel like a lot of characters kind of lack facial expressions. I mean, by and large throughout Mashle, but especially the antagonists feel like they are especially emotionless most of the time inside. And I wonder if that has anything to do with anything deeper than what I just guessed. You know what I mean? Like, why do so many characters have this kind of demeanor?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting question. Yeah, I'd have to think more about it.
Yeah,
and it calls to mind, like, there's a lot of characters, say like Margaret, right? Like, is Margaret a good guy or bad guy, right? Like,
Margaret's one of the most, as far as expressions goes, one of the most like all over the place. Like we see, like very dramatic. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. So is that a tell that Margaret is not a bad guy? But then again, Abel, you could probably say, is not a bad guy at this point, right?
Sure.
So like, so is it more of a, as you were saying, like trying to set up in situations in battles where like it's more clear that you shouldn't like this person because you're not giving anything to empathize with, right? There's nothing for you to agree with emotionally,
right?
But you're also not supposed to super hate them, because if you were supposed to super hate them, they would be portrayed as angry and violent and mean.
Yeah.
But they're not mean; they're just emotionless.
Yeah.
So it leaves open the potential to let you be friends again after the battle because, I'm just always, I have resting asshole face or something, right?
Yeah, that's a cool way to look at it. I didn't even think about it like that. But man, that's just always like something that, like, especially now with this Carpaccio character, I've just been thinking about it. It's like, why are there so many emotionless, wide-eyed, no expression characters in Mashle? You know what I mean?
I feel like it especially makes sense for Carpaccio because if he can't feel pain, he probably has a difficulty empathizing generally with people, right?
Right. And it made sense with Abel because Abel was just a doll and the real Abel was a baby. But
never gonna let that one go.
Not until it's hard confirmed in one direction.
There's two situations: hard confirmed or final chapter. It's like, all right, fine. It wasn't there.
Oh no, because even if we get to the final chapter and it's not confirmed, that could just be an unanswered mystery that Komoto wanted us to think about for the rest of our lives.
It'll be the main theme of the sequel manga, like Abel main character, but the baby Abel.
Oh my god, I love how Mash going into this like this monologue, of sorts, is just like so good for his character, because I feel like this hits so hard because obviously the character that we've come to know over time, Mash is constantly switching between serious and joking, especially in the illustration of his face. So like even though this is probably one of his more serious scenes, splashing in those gaggy, panels doesn't hurt it, you know what I mean, which we can thank the history of the series for. But also, it's like I feel like these kind of scenes need this now. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a scene where Mash is 100% serious from the start to the end of the scene.
Yeah,
like doesn't even feel right anymore.
It would feel like too much almost.
Yeah, like you're like, God damn, like what does this mean if we went this long of serious Mash with no? So I feel like that's being saved. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Like,
yes.
Like we will get a scene where there's just no comedy at all, and it's just Mash all business, without even a single funny panel woven in, and that's gonna really sell that scene when it comes. You know what I mean? But oh my god, his dialogue throughout this is so good, bro. Like, you may have a point. Everyone's like, oh shit, what you mean? You hear this motherfucker talking about his homeboy? Hold on, and then it's and then he says the thing, blah blah blah. From your perspective, Finn's efforts may be a pointless struggle, and maybe it is pitiful, but despite how scared he was, my friend stood up against an overwhelmingly powerful opponent, and no one laughs at my friend for that.
And his face!
Best Mash face panel that we've ever gotten, in my opinion, into this massive flurry. And like, that could have been it. And then that could have been bravo Mash. You did it. And fuck yeah. And then to whoop him out of his damage reflection, because I think Mash can tell that he broke the doll.
Yeah.
And now, the damage reflection is no longer a thing. So now he's like, okay, now I'm literally 1,000,000 times stronger than you, because the only thing keeping this from being a one-shot was this stand. The stand is gone. I'm 1,000,000 times stronger than you now. So knowing that, will you stand up against me as bravely as Finn did against you? Bro, this is 2 chapters in a row where he's just had the best closing dialogue in a shonen protagonist that I've seen in a really long time. Last chapter 2, I ain't never met nobody as strong as me, though. That had me out my seat. You know what I'm saying? And this just shits on that. You know what I mean?
Yes, it does. It does.
Oh.
It simultaneously is badass and then also raises Finn up and puts Carpaccio down, like throwing down the gauntlet. You think you're so badass?
Yeah.
Prove it then, buddy. Oh my god. Oh, I just love that. I'm 1,000,000 times stronger than you.
Dude, Mash is too good, man. Mash, as gaggy of a character as he is, it made me worried when I first started reading this, because if this is, especially when it started getting a little bit more serious and it started moving out of that real gaggy atmosphere, but still kept it the most inside of Mash's character. I was like, okay, well, if we're moving into a more serious atmosphere with light jokes rather than intense jokes with semi-serious atmosphere, if we're switching that, but we're still keeping all the gag inside of the main character, then as the story progresses in its serious ways, you need a protagonist that kind of fits along with that. Otherwise, in my opinion, I feel like that is way too jarring of an experience to get all of the really intense, compelling, serious storytelling all the time cut by the gags of the main character. I'm like, how long can that really last? But this mangaka has just cracked the code on how to keep your main character funny, keep your series funny, while applying just the right amount of drama, tension, and seriousness to keep it all together. You know what I mean? And it's really
masterfully
impressive.
Done.
It's very masterful. I never thought that I could see a manga like this in Shonen Jump. You know what I mean?
And it's amazing also that it's obviously so similar to One Punch Man, but it feels distinct and fresh. I don't know, it's hard. I don't want to. I was about to say, I almost feel like I like Mashle better. You know what I mean? But they're very different, right? Obviously, One Punch Man.
Mashle's execution is just I wasn't expecting anything like this. One Punch Man's execution, while it was still a way different manga, than anything I had experienced before it still didn't feel this surprising. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I don't know any better way to explain it than that. If you know what I mean, but that is probably the extent of my articulation of this thought. But Mashle doing everything it needs to in all the ways it needs to, while pulling from all of these different references, feeling so much it's a very eclectic story, while still pulling from all of these different areas while still being as fresh and unique as it is mind-blowingly impressive.
Hell yeah.
But I think I'm good on Mash though.
Same.
Oh wait, question. What do you think happens now, next? Okay, so going into the next chapter, now that this doll is broken, now do we see true form Master Cane stuff, or was that always happening before? Does he not even know of the next stage of his abilities that we're potentially about to see? Is Carpaccio, has Carpaccio only thought this far ahead, and what comes next is new to him? You know what I mean? Or is it literally just going to be the doll's broken now, Carpaccio's going to be all right, well, after that monologue, I got to step up. Let's see if I'm actually tight. Wow, and then just one-shotted. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I just thought that would be a cool closing question. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if this is really the first time he's ever felt pain, we could even get a comedic him bursting into tears. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Oh my god, it hurts. You know what I mean?
Because he's not feeling pain right now. I think that the thing broke, so the next attack he takes will be pain, because it doesn't look like he's really in pain yet.
That's okay. That's true. That's true.
So what if next chapter he just flicks him? and he just bursts into tears. Like, so that thing was channeling all of your damage, right? So it's broken now, so you can feel pain now. Kicks him in the shin lightly, and he just crumbles into dust.
Oh, that'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good.
Oh.
And I also would not be opposed to a second or a third flying kind of like fight. You know what I mean? Like get some big badass Carpaccio moments here, because he's not really done much damage other than what we've already seen against Finn, right?
Exactly.
And the damage redirection. So
and
if
that
he has
seems
like
to
an
be
offensive...
so easy and so reliable that you don't have to really come out of your shell all that often. You just stab yourself till your opponent is done.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that'd be cool. And you want to know what? I think it would be sick, going off of your point earlier in the review about how maybe he's emotionless because he hasn't never felt pain. And then now that the statue is broken, he continues his fight with Mash inside of his third line ability or something. And it's epic, but he's taking damage during that time. And then now we start seeing all of this full range of like emotional, drawings in his face, throughout that continuation of that fight. As he starts feeling pain for the first time, we just see this huge... these crazy reactions, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would love that.
That'd be wild. Okay, I think I like that the most.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, getting into Black Clover, chapter 284, Ultimate Magic. How do we feel?
Very good chapter, I think. I mean, like intense action, great art. I liked the explanation, like starting off here, like we're meeting this dryad character, and then we get this explanation of what ultimate magic is and why normally only elves can do it, but because of our knowledge from the Heart Kingdom and true magic and arrays and that kind of stuff, like okay, bam, like you might be able to do this. It's like, okay,
I love
tie
that.
This together for me. I'm very happy with this.
Now you know how we are over here about our energy system exposition and how we feel Black Clover is lacking it. This is something that feels really good for the situation at hand. It's like, normally you shouldn't be able to do this, but the stars have aligned, and this is a situational, conditional way for you to tap into this magic. It's only, what I want to assume, it's only effective under these exact conditions. You won't be able to take this magic back home. You know what I'm saying? It's only because we're in Heart Kingdom, because of the dense like mana situation of Heart Kingdom, plus the fact that you guys train for 6 months in these arrays or these runes. So use the runes plus the element or the plus the environmental advantage that Heart Kingdom gives you to tap into this special kind of magic right now, is how I kind of took that.
I mostly agree, but I'm not sure that they need to be in the Heart Kingdom.
Oh, because wait, what are they not in the Heart? Because I remember that this is happening in 2 different areas.
Right. Well, now I'm pretty sure they're back in the Spade Kingdom. They're
right.
just
you're right.
They've gone to the Spade Kingdom. They're outside, fighting all these demons that are coming out of the castle or whatever.
Right. Yeah,
so I think more on this page 3. I think what that guy is talking about, Patri or Licht or whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah.
The elf guy, by, he was just saying that you learned in the Heart Kingdom about mana method.
Ah, sure.
And by learning about mana method, you acquired true magic, and true magic uses external mana from nature.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So then they go to Spade Kingdom, and then they just used the external magic there.
Right.
Whatever,
So when I first read through this, then I guess I took this dialogue bubble here by making free use of mana method in the Heart Kingdom. I don't know why I just thought that was just like a zone specific boost in mana just from being around here.
That is a way to read that sentence. I think I don't think you're totally off. I'm just saying that, like, obviously they do use it in Spade Kingdom, so
right.
Must be a different, in my opinion, explanation. Yeah, but overall, like because now that they can use mana outside of their bodies, then they can get up to the quantity of magic that would be required for ultimate magic.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like that connection a lot.
So in other words, you can use more magic than you actually have. That's because you are pulling from around you instead of just from within you.
Right.
That means there's a chance that you'll be able to artificially use ultimate magic. So how is it artificial then?
Just because normally you'd be like an elf, say, and you have 1,000 mana, and that's enough mana to cast the 900 mana spell called ultimate light magic or whatever, right? But normally these guys have like 100 mana, right?
Oh, and they trained their way up to 1,000 instead of just being born with it.
Yes, by using.
So that's what they mean by
using 900 external. They've trained up the external ability to be able to use so much that overall they can artificially cast this spell that they normally wouldn't be able to cast without mana method.
Okay. So the artificially just means external reasons beyond just what you were born and blessed with naturally are the reasons why you're using this. Okay, because for some reason I took that as you can only use this magic like right now under these circumstances,
right?
You know, or what I mean?
The next panel, right? Use the superhuman power of true magic to acquire ultimate magic. And superhuman in this case is like very literal, right? Beyond the human, right? Absolutely. So like you're using the external nature magic or whatever.
Yes, that feels amazing. Thank you so much for clarifying that with me because it felt good already, you know.
Yeah.
It felt amazing the way that I thought about it. But obviously this makes more sense to what's actually going on, so that's great. But I was like sitting here going like, man, they're really setting conditions and timers and like, you know what I'm saying? You can only be here to do this type shit. I was like, this is getting like, wait, like these are the kind of setbacks and caveats and like conditions that like I've kind of been waiting for, but it's still great. You know what I mean? It still feels amazing that this much explanation was used to explain the phenomenon because we do not get this much explanation to describe any phenomenon that happens in Black Clover by and large. You know what I mean? I'm not saying we haven't gotten huge exposition dumps before, but they're very few and far between. And but I just hella appreciate these 2 pages, bro.
Hell yeah.
Like, or these 3 pages rather, because we get this dryad lady, the spirit.
Yes.
And this is a question that I had because is this like, this is a spirit, right? So like this is like you know, Yuno's spirit, Fuego Leon's spirit, the water spirit, but it's like the forest one. And like, don't we already have 4? Wasn't there only 4? And now this would be or do we not know the 4th one and I'm just forgetting? And this is the 4th one?
So we've got the water one.
Wind, fire.
The wind and the fire. And then I guess I don't remember I assume I thought there is a 4th
one. Yeah.
I think there is there must be a 4th.
I know that I know
kingdoms,
4 is the number. Yes, I know 4 is the number. I can't remember if we've seen the 4th one. If we have gotten the 4th one, which I want to believe that we have, then this is a different one than that. So this is 5. I don't know. Black Clover fans, let me know.
Yeah, let us know. But I would agree that my thought here is that this is not a race like dwarves or elves, but it's a spirit more like the water spirit, the wind spirit, or these kind of things. And maybe she's not like that level. Maybe she's not the forest spirit, but maybe she's like a high level forest related spirit, right?
Sure. Yeah, I like that.
But it's so crazy, like, after getting this, like, exposition of ultimate magic, and how it ties into true magic, then you get this crazy double spread on 4 and 5.
I love this, man.
And when I first saw this, I was like, oh, damn. So this is ultimate magic, but this is not ultimate magic. This is not. This is only true magic. This is not even the badass thing they're talking about.
Yeah, that's right.
True water, true lightning, true earth, true cotton, plant, wind, flame.
Yeah.
Because we see ultimate magic at the end of the chapter.
At the end, yeah.
So this, as badass as this is just true magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, wow.
My favorite one, personally, like you tell me your favorite, but my favorite is Mimosas on the left.
Yeah.
Because she makes a plant that does fucking solar beam.
Solar beam, yes.
Yo!
Yes, that's so good. I think mine is Charmy's just because of the, like, I've always loved Charmy's giant sheep.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And the fact that, like, it could have just been Charmy shooting this out. She has cotton magic herself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She could easily have just had her hand in front of these arrays and shoot. But no, she conjures the sheep to shoot it for her. Like, that's just so fucking cool to me.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't know how cotton magic evaporates you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how it disintegrates its target, but, like, maybe it's just because it doesn't really matter what shape, you know, or whatever. It's just such a dense concentration of mana that it just burns away anything that it comes in contact with. And this is all doing similar, you know, damage magic-wise with different aesthetics. I don't know, you know, if that's what it is. I just figured that Charmy's would look different than everyone else's because it's not an inherently destructive force. You know what I mean?
Right.
I figured you would see, you know, everyone getting disintegrated for everything else, and then Charmy's would just be like envelopment, you know what I mean, or suffocation, or I don't fucking know, something
suffocation.
other, something other than just like raw evaporation like everybody else. But I mean, that's not even a big deal. That was just something where I was like, I wonder how that could have been done differently. Yeah.
To help you out there, like on page 8, there's like a flashback to talking with Dryad, and she says like, with low-level devils, if you use a ton of mana, you can mow them down.
Yeah.
So like I think that is basically what they're doing. They're just using so much mana that even if though it is cotton magic, it's so much mana
that it just burns away anything in its path. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. That's good. But yeah, Charmy's my favorite on the double spread, easy. And then next would probably be Mimosa, just because of the giant flower solar beam. Like, that's too tough.
Mimosa number 1 for me.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah,
they all look tight. They all look very tight.
Man, even like, I love how who is this right next to Gaja to the left?
Gaja
Luck? Because Gaja's right to the left of Charmy.
Luck is on the very, very left.
Yep.
You can't see him casting.
So is this
because
so then
we
that
got him
means
last
that
chapter.
Yeah, that's right. So then that means that this is Noelle directly to the left of Gaja.
Yes. Yep. That's Noelle.
I love hers because it's like it's like the least. It's like the most jagged path.
Yes. Yep.
Which is how we always see her water magic. So I don't know how that was even confusing to me in the first place, but yes,
it's just far away. It's
sure.
You have to focus on it. For sure.
Yeah. But I will do this double spread is everything, bro. Oh my god! And then the fucking the tentacle or the roots and shit coming out from the very right. I always miss that one. Who is that?
Yeah, I don't remember their name.
Yeah, that one's sick too, though.
That one does look tight.
They all look so sick, and they're all in different stances, bro.
Yep.
Oh, love it.
Super sick.
So then the medium range, the mid-ranking devils come out. Mm-hmm. They all look amazing.
Yeah, they look very tight.
Oh my god.
Very bold line work, as the devils have always had. They look fantastic. Very, very unique looking. Yeah. Big ear boy and tentacle girl and beef boy with what is this, like some sort of like magma jets on his shoulders on the right.
Yeah, some kind of shit like that. Man, Tabata can design the shit out of a monster, I tell you what.
Hell yeah.
So the thing about the mid-ranking devils, though, and I know that this is probably just pacing or something, but like I don't know about, because like the way that the tides shift in Black Clover is obviously drawn very well, and it's always very hype because you know it's characters coming out with new moves or something like that. It's always great for the scene, but like I can't help but feel like it's a little bit too quick when these mid-ranking devils come out. We're the only thing that makes us scared of them is that we know they're stronger than the lower ranking devils. They have crazier designs. They come out and they exist for like a second and don't do anything before they are just shown to be low diffed by the ultimate magic that we know that all of these guys have. So it's like, there is now obviously they got snuck attack, you know, this is a very quick attack, you know, like caught off guard type shit. But I mean, they're all evaporated, you know,
they're all dead.
Yeah, they're all dead. You know what I mean? And I wanted to say like maybe they come back in some kind of trippy way, you know, next chapter, and that wasn't enough. Like these are mid-ranking devils, but it's like I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make it feel better for me because like even though it's not really, I don't know. I just think that they were introduced and taken out like a little bit like too quickly.
It is interesting because like on 1213, right, where in the background you see these silhouettes of all of the devils, all the mid-level devils, like just getting obliterated, right? Heads off, cut in half or whatever.
Which is very Killua to me, by the way.
Very Killua.
Killua versus Ramot in Chimera Ant literally just snatches his fucking head off in the...
I mean, Luck is very Killua, generally, right? But on the top left of this double spread, you see these heads floating, and it has a bubble with a question mark in it, right? Like they are still alive, so maybe they will get healed. Yeah. But it is interesting because like Luck is so unfazed by them now that he's looking up at the castle, and everyone's looking up at the castle, and he's just floating there, not caring about these devils that he just killed at all. So he has effectively nullified the threat completely. So yes, it was a very flash in the pan. You know what I mean? Like we didn't get anything from these devils essentially.
Right. And now hopefully, you know, I could see Tabata, you know, reforming them. Like I could totally see him reforming them and then being like, okay, I wasn't expecting people this strong to be around, you know what I mean? Like type shit, you know, like the kind of dialogue that we can expect.
Right.
And like that would be fine. But then it just turns into like the significance of these cliffhangers. You know what I mean? Like not necessarily cliffhangers, because I mean we turn the page and we see that Noct is the actual cliffhanger, but we're leaving this scene on a cliffhanger, even if it's not a tried and true cliffhanger of the chapter. And it's like, man, I don't even know how I want to like say what I want to say right now, but like you guys know how I feel about, you know, Tabata's use of these dramatic, you know, where we leave you off kind of like situations. And it's like, if these things aren't done, then like why leave them on a similar cliffhanger that we always get of this kind of damage before you say, nope, never mind. Just have them reassimilate in the chapter and be like, nope, you guys thought you had it, and then have that be a better
cliffhanger.
Yeah, like, or the cliffhanger, or no, you could even still use Noct. But
sure.
But like, I don't fucking know, dude. And I'm not trying to say like these things should be changed, but it's just I'm just so tired of like, man, it's like if these guys are dead, then they were introduced and taken out too quickly. If they live, then like stop using this cliffhanger. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like either way, I feel like, you know, I feel left, you know, with something missing there.
Right.
You know what I mean? But either way, that is literally the only issue that I guess I have with this chapter. But other than that, it's like Noct now is like strung up the same way that we've seen Yami and Vengeance. Like Tabata really loves using this panel now that I think about it. But yeah, so it looks like they got the better of him. Why he seems to have been left alive, I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're like laughing. Like, are they like just gonna torture him?
Yeah, I guess you could just say they're sadistic and like want to torture him. That's fine too. But yeah, I don't know. I doubt Noct dies, even though he looks impaled in a million different ways. But I mean, we've seen that with characters that are still alive. So
he's certainly not dead now.
Yeah. But I wonder why they have him. And I think that the panel above where they're like laughing is pretty clear evidence that they're literally just toying with him. I can't see any other reason why they wouldn't just slice his head off and be done with it. But I mean, so like, what does this mean for Jack the Ripper then? Like, how's Jack doing if this is Noct? You know what I mean? Like, holy shit.
There's so many characters in play.
Yeah. I think they are. Yeah, I think Noct and I remember thinking that Noct and Jack were separated. Jack to fight, you know, Dante, and then Noct to fight these two. But even if that's the case, they're still all like kind of in the same room.
Yeah, I think they're in the same room. So
So yeah, I don't know, man. I have
very hype chapter.
Very hype.
I'm excited to see what happens next. But yeah, like
the art and the action were everything. The exposition was everything. I just have a couple questions about like where it's going to go based on like the history of Tabata's storytelling so far, and the anxiety that history, you know, gives me going into the future as it usually does. But I'm really hoping. I have a lot of like faith in Tabata for this. Like Tabata, like I thought, like I got to a point in this arc where I was like, I don't know if I want to read this anymore. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I kind of can't wait to see what happens next, like for multiple weeks in a row. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I love Tabata for that. But at the same time, it's like I'm just tired of these cliffhangers, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that it's kind of like just Black Clover's thing and always has been. So it's like, what am I complaining about it for? But it's like this is a different kind of arc, man. This is an arc where, I don't know, we should be seeing, I don't know, I don't want to say should, but I think that I want to see completely different stuff in every area from Tabata. Like, this is where you pull out the stops. This is the biggest threat. This is, been telling the same story for who knows how long, you know what I mean? And you kind of like started to, you know, when the arc started, there was this, you know, there was this tone of like, this is darker. Things are about to start getting crazier. Things are, this ain't the same show as it was before. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of feeling. And although characters have died, a character has died, a significant character has died, and a bunch of other random ones, presumably. Yeah, definitely. Because the Golden Dawn, those guys are all dead, right? Still? Or wait, or did Vengeance bring back everyone but Hamon?
I don't.
I can't remember.
Fully
either
remember.
way. I feel like I had expectations based on like the setup that I've kind of been let down a couple times for. But despite all of that, inside of the same arc, Tabata bringing it back to this level is very impressive to me.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
So I'm excited either way. But yeah. Yeah, man. Oh my god. And the panel, I have to say, my favorite panel in this entire shit, even though that double spread is crazy, Luck ripping the arm off of the fucking demon, readying the energy blast, is one of the coolest panels I've seen in Shonen Jump in a while. You know
it's very tight.
This is fucking tight. Like everything about this compositionally is amazing. The stark white inside of all of like Nox, or inside of all of Luck's situation. And then just the faint broken line outline of him inside of that white energy. And then obviously with, you know, the very intense light source on the demon with the stark blacks and the shading and like everything with like the gradient from the stark black into the lines, into the gray, into the white, everything just feels perfect in that panel. That's one of my favorite panels in a long time.
Now that I look at it, like on this 10-11, right? Like after he slices this dude's arm off, is this meant to imply that like on the top panel he kicks the dude's arm off, but he kicks it off so strongly that in the bottom middle panel he blew up a dragon above?
I didn't even see that.
I didn't see that until just now, but like...
Yo, wait.
Right? Like...
That's awesome.
That's wild.
Just a random demon caught
just flying. Boom.
Yo, that's hilarious. God, I love that.
Yeah, that's tight.
So good.
But yeah, that's all I had for Black Clover.
Yeah, I think I'm good too, man. All right, getting into My Hero Academia, chapter 304. Izuku Midoriya and Toshinori Yagi. This chapter is massive.
This is a huge chapter for exposition for the story generally. Like, wow.
This is everything. It gives us an amazing explanation of things. And I'm not like too deep in the My Hero Academia like analysis community, so I don't know exactly like what people are talking about and when, or if this information that we've gotten in this chapter has been speculated on. I feel like this information is all stuff that I couldn't have possibly like even like thought about, you know, based on the history of the story. And I feel like this is literally just Kohei just giving raw information about things that should be known that we didn't like, that we weren't like waiting on, you know what I mean? Like obviously we want to know what these vestiges have to say about certain things, but like the information that they gave is like not like, I feel like not information that we've been waiting. It's just all new information regarding this quirk, and that's just so cool to get, especially the way it leads into like the kind of cliffhanger dialogue at the end. I just think that this is a cool chapter to get right now. Considering that it doesn't really have any lead into, you know what I mean? It's just like, okay, Deku's in a coma, he's probably going to talk to the vestiges. But like we had no idea what that conversation was going to be. You know what I mean?
And even in the conversation, I think one of the only things that we could have, you know, any breadcrumbs for at all was the idea that the fourth, you know, there was something shady about him, right? Because All Might didn't include something or as much detail as the others in his notebook, right? But like most people, I think, assumed, oh, like was he a bad guy? Like, ooh, like did he do something wrong? You know what I mean? But like the circumstance of his death, I feel like probably not many people would have thought of, because like what could that possibly do for the story, right? Like, oh, he died really badly. Like, oh, that sucks for him, I guess. But like, no, like old age. Okay. Oh, damn.
Wait, old age at 40? Just an amazing way to transition into the bomb drops of information that we get on here. You know what I mean? And this is great, you know, because they're like, the whole quirk factor situation about how they thought the only reason why they were like kind of like chilling in here is because their, you know, their essences, you know, were held in their quirk factor. And you know what I mean? Like the more people, you know, that contribute to this overall shared space with their quirk factors, the more you know, physical we become and the more cognizant we become in this space. That's great. That's an amazing explanation. But then like the whole like, yo, but there's a problem though. You know what I'm saying? Like this is all cool and shit, but the stronger this quirk gets, the harder it's going to be on people who take it in that already have quirks. So the fact that we're all congregating here like this to this degree means that you cannot pass this quirk on to anyone else, especially like, or anyone else that has a quirk for sure. So you'd have to find someone that doesn't have a quirk. And by the time you're ready to pass this quirk on, there's going to be no proper candidates. So you are literally the last one that can have this quirk. And it's just like, Oh, but I bet you still at the very end of the story, he's gonna find that one kid to pass this quirk on to. Yeah.
Definitely could. Yeah. I do find it very funny that, like, in this chapter, they're talking about, like, say, page 8, right? I'll get straight to the point. As of now, One for All cannot be wielded by an ordinary person. But in this case, an ordinary person is someone with a quirk.
Right, but you're supposed to think, Deku, it's a problem that you have this because you're ordinary.
Sure.
To like, I don't know. At least that's like the way that I felt like the chapter was trying to subvert me. You know what I mean? Like as I was reading it. The way that ordinary person jumped out at me, it's like because Deku's like, oh shit, I'm like, at least that's ordinary. That's how I felt. You know what I mean? But he's not. But he knows he's not ordinary because he knows that he's a very special case, not having a quirk. But I think that was like a metatextual, fake out. You know what I mean? Like for the reader potentially, or at least it got me. That's interesting. That's not where my mind went, but I 100% see what you mean because like you're like talking to your boss essentially, right? Like all of your bosses and your bosses are like, hey, I got some bad news, buddy. Like this job isn't for everyone, and you're like, what? Well, they've got to be talking to me because like I shouldn't even be here. I feel like you know what I mean, type shit. Right.
But like I just find it's so funny that in reality, when they say ordinary person, they mean it actually can't be wielded by the average person who has a quirk. So you'll have to find a very rare person who is quirkless. And I think it's also very interesting that they're saying like the number of quirkless people, the percentage of quirkless people in the population is going down over time, which makes sense. I mean, obviously it has been since the beginning, since like the first person got a quirk, right? But I almost thought that like overall, like the population would just stabilize at like about 20% of people don't have quirks.
Oh, sure, right? Sure.
But no, like over time, like only 10%, only 5%, only 1% of people don't have quirks. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, bro. Wild. And I love the cup runneth over examples that they I love whenever mangaka use this example for anything. You know what I mean? So I love seeing that. It was very well used here. Man, this is giving a lot of context to a lot of things, you know what I mean, that have happened. And okay, so this part here, none of us knew any of this at the time, but as fate would have it, it passed into his hands and then yours. If only we had found a way to interact with the wielder sooner, so much pain and suffering could have been avoided. The death of Night Eye. How could the death of Night Eye have been avoided if this information was given to people?
No.
Oh, is that not Night Eye?
No, it is Night Eye, but I don't think it's talking about his death being avoided.
Okay.
The pain and suffering I think they're talking about is that Night Eye and All Might used to be very good friends, and then they split up because All Might didn't pass it on to Mirio. But if they had known earlier
that you can't pass it on to someone with a quirk, otherwise it shortens their lifespan, they wouldn't have had the argument because it would have been like, duh, don't give it to Mirio.
Yes.
Which... okay, thank you. Okay,
that's what I got in. That's what I got.
That's gotta be exactly what it is, bro. Damn, this is
what a massive chat. Like this
is so dense with like such import. Like this is the perfect chapter to get like right now. You know what I mean? Because it's like this could go anywhere. There's a million things that are happening right now, a million interesting things. We could have gone literally anywhere and it would have made sense. But if we would have gone to all of those areas. Like, sure, you could have just saved this for like last with Deku still in the coma and focused on everything else. Sure. But like, I feel like you want this intense of a Deku focused chapter if you're going to keep him in the coma and then focus on things elsewhere. You know what I mean? So you need this chapter like right now, you know, and okay. Did you have anything else to say? Like we could keep talking about the chapter, but like this last line of dialogue from Nana is really like eating at me.
I do have one thing before we get into that. Mostly that the fourth Hikage Shinomori, he is so fucking cool.
Yes.
I love this
his
dude.
Design. Oh yeah, that's right. I have things that I have to say. His danger sense is so funny in this chapter. It's so sick and so funny because like obviously, you know, Black Whip Bro comes over to try to hit him. And he's like, tink, and you can see his danger sense, like the illustration of his danger sense is
the lightning bolt thing.
Yeah, that like lightning bolt thing. So he's like, whoop, 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 whoop. You know what I mean? Like dodging all of his shit. Oh, that's so good. You know what I mean? And
or like he's like, for 18 long years, I evaded All for One and devoted my life to building a power. And he's like, stanced up in front of a boulder to split in half. It's like, yo, I desperately want a spin-off manga of this guy, right? Or at least like a volume or a chapter. Just give me one chapter of like the day in the life of this dude, because he's so interesting. Or the line, right? They're saying like he was a hermit. Oh yeah, Shinomori here was a weirdo who shunned modern society for the life of a hermit. And he goes, mine was a terrible era. They were the weirdos, not me. What?
So I'm assuming what like this means. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just saying, like, I think we have a good hint of what he's talking about. But go into
The way that I kind of interpreted this was mine was a terrible era. There were villains everywhere. We didn't have an All Might. My danger sense was pinging so intensely that I just left the city and I went into the fucking forest and just stayed away from All for One, because if I stayed in the city, my danger sense would go off constantly. I would constantly be throwing myself in the line of fire, and just giving All for One all of these opportunities to sneak me, because I'm so concerned with the danger senses that I'm constantly fatigued. I'm constantly fighting. I can't ignore this thing. If I feel it, I gotta go save people. So I just need to let the fucking heroes of now deal with it. I will go into the woods and either train myself to the point where it doesn't matter what danger I encounter, or train myself to the point where I'm training myself physically so I can deal with One for All, but also training myself mentally to the point where I can pick and choose which danger alert spikes to kind of deal with, you know what I mean, and kind of respond to, is kind of the way that I took it. And if that's the case, you know what I'm saying? Like, what would a spinoff really look like for dude? It would be training in the woods and ignoring danger signals. You know what I mean? Like,
so maybe like a volume, right?
Tops or whatever. Like a little one shot or something. I don't know. But that's only if my interpretation of his dialogue is correct. He could have been out in the mix of action, going to the woods to train, and then by day going into the city and dealing, like with shit or whatever. You know what I mean?
No. How you explained it was exactly what I imagined. Yeah, that I think we pretty much understood that, like, back then that was the bad times, you know what I mean? Like where All for One was very, very strong, the society had kind of broken down. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I love the explanation that we get that everyone else didn't have the quirk long enough to really see that its effects were shortening their lifespan, because they all died very young deaths in combat. But Buddy Shinomori had the quirk the second longest besides All Might, and he clearly didn't really have a very in the mix of action lifestyle, because he was always in the woods or whatever. So he really got to see that this was shortening his lifespan, and these cracks started appearing on his face, which is
the same kind of cracks that are on Shiggy right now.
Oh.
Yeah. These black cracks, like those are the cracks that are happening on Shiggy.
Oh, I was gonna ask. I was like, have we seen these anywhere else?
I think so.
But I thought to myself, like, no, we haven't seen these anywhere else, because someone else in the vestige space would have them, but no one else in vestige space would have them, because he's the only one that's had the quirk long enough. To actually see them. So I was like, oh, this must be just like the only case. Maybe we see Deku with it later or something. But no, Shigaraki.
Right, because he has so many quirks jammed into his body that his body isn't up to the power to capture all of them, to hold all of them in. So they're splitting out. You know what I mean? Like,
oh no, woo boy. Damn. So they could just, I don't know. I have no idea where I'm going with this, but this is crazy. I love that we went back to talk about Shinomiya instead of just like my impatient ass trying to get to the fucking Nana scene. Yeah. But this is so good.
Yeah, Shinomori. Yeah,
Shinomori.
Shinomori, super badass. Ooh, very cool. But yeah, let's talk about this last page.
Yeah, okay. So tell me, can you kill Tamura Shigaraki? Obviously, we know that Deku is going to say, actually, I kind of want to save him. I was thinking I would save him, instead. How is everybody going to react here? Because this is like either going to be the part of the conversation that thoroughly enhances that you look like you needed saving scene at the end of the Paranormal Liberation Front War, or it's just going to be an even more polarizing moment, you know what I mean, where you're going to see an even bigger divide in the community, because now Deku is doubling down. You have the wishes, the reasoning, the experience of the 8 other vestiges in front of you right now saying, kill this man. Yeah, we were all number 1 hero before too, bro. We get it. You want to save everybody. It's cool. Some motherfuckers just need to go. You know what I'm saying? You got at least Nana saying this. I would assume that the rest of the council agrees. Or this could just be the first time that Nana has actually expressed this now that Deku is here, and everyone could go, hey, whoa, you know, you never know. But
for the record, she isn't saying she endorses the idea. Yeah. She's just highly implying it, and but she's just literally only asking, can you kill him?
Oh yeah, maybe she's only asking, do you have the will to?
Or she's waiting for I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to save him. And it's like, that's exactly what I wanted you to say, right? But I think there is another way to get out of this situation. If Horikoshi wanted to distance from that, you know, like, oh, he looked like he did saving scene, right? He could have Deku here, you know, say, no, I was thinking about saving him, right? Like, to have consistency with Deku's thoughts before.
Yeah.
But we could get more exposition, but this time about All for One. And these people might tell him, like, hey, for the record, All for One isn't one guy.
Yeah.
He actually has been jumping bodies this whole time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And that's fine if you want to save Shigi, but you're on a clock. Right. If he takes over his body, there's nothing you can do. Yeah. Right? Then you have to kill him because he's the guy, right? Yeah. But if you can kill All for One first,
or if you can separate Shigaraki from All for One, then we can lock Shigaraki up and get him the reform that he needs, and then take out All for One.
Right.
So I think that actually it's exactly what you said, and this is Nana asking, can you kill Tomura Shigaraki, because she wants him to say, I was thinking about saving him, and then she would go precisely, because the last time that we all kind of linked together in that shared space, we all saw, and obviously the brother of All for One went, okay, so this dude doesn't even want to be there probably. We thought this dude just like sucked for reasons of his own, but like now we can see that like All for One has just fucked this dude's entire life up. Let's get that guy out of there, and then get All for One out of here. And probably, you know, Nana is like, hey, my grandson is wildin', but it's not his fault. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, I don't want you to kill my grandson. Are you thinking about killing my grandson? Can you kill Tomura Shigaraki if you have to? Let's work on a way to where that's not a possibility. But if it is a thing, are you capable of doing it? Maybe is kind of.
But I will agree with you from what you were saying before. Yeah. They very well could respond to his. I was actually thinking of saving him. They could literally say like, "Ooh, I get it, but not." This is not the time.
Right.
Sorry. You know what I mean? Like, this is higher stakes than saving one person. You know what I mean? Like, they literally could, you know, respond
go full
in that way.
Utilitarian, like, hey, bro, he had his, you know what I'm saying, his chance, whatever. It's time to pull the plug on, bro. And if all of the vestiges do come together and say, yo, Shigaraki needs to die, that's like so big for the story of My Hero Academia, because now you have like hard confirmation that the best heroes that ever existed all agree that murdering someone is the best course of action. So what does that mean to Deku if he hears that information from everybody? You know what I mean? Because he's obviously not fucking with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
No matter what. And he's going to be super conflicted, because he's going to be like, I know what I think is right. I thought what I thought was right fell in line with what like All Might and all of these guys think is right. But now everyone's saying kill this guy. And like, I don't know. Don't meet your heroes, folks. You know what I mean? Like type shit. You know what I mean? I could totally see it. Wow. I have no idea. Like, I don't even know what to think right now. Like, if that's a scene, oh my god, yeah.
One more, which could be, she's asking the question in a literal capability sense, right? So if Deku, let's say Deku says yes, I could, she could say, bullshit. You are not strong enough to kill this guy. You got your ass handed to you.
Right.
So while you're in this coma, prepare for some image training.
Yes.
You're going to train with each of us in turn, and you're going to learn every single one of these quirks front to back 100%.
Until you can kill Shigaraki.
And ooh, man, what if they say, like, and you won't wake up until you do?
Yo.
Damn.
Bruh. I don't, dude. Like, I want to believe. I want to believe that that Deku's bottom line morality is the true moral stance of the series. Whether that's contradicted right now in the goings on of what's happening in the real world, and then eventually the world resets to kind of mold around Deku's ideology by the end of the series, whatever.
Right.
But I think that Deku's outlook is the correct one for the series. So
yes.
So like them wanting him, like them even talking about killing shit, like this is such a massive point in the series because like we've been saying, they either want him to kill Shigaraki Tomura or they don't want him to kill Shigaraki Tomura. This line of dialogue is obviously very ambiguous as to what their intent is. But like, bottom line, it's either one way or the other. And if it's like the way we all want it to be, where they're like, yo, like, what do we want it to be? You know what I mean? Like that's another thing. It's like, what do we want it to be? Because like I was saying, if they say, kill Shigaraki Tomura, we want you to kill Shigaraki Tomura, and Deku doubles down and says, yo, no, that's not the way I want to go about this. We need a reform of this kind of thinking, and it's going to be led through me and my disobedience here, my revolutionary, like takes here, like I'm going against, the council type shit. Then like that is going to be massive for Deku's character. It's a very massive, bigger picture kind of scenario for like the future of the series. But in the moment, I know that Twitter is going to erupt if Deku goes against 8 vestiges telling him, dust this motherfucker, bro. And he says no. They are already mad about you look like you needed saving, even though it makes sense in the narrative and makes sense for his character. The block was still lit off that. So now to get this reaction, if that is the scene that we get, the internet, Twitter especially, will go crazy for that. But I mean, whatever. Fuck them. It's about, does this make sense in the story? Are characters behaving out of character? If they are behaving out of character, it's because they're going through some kind of growth situation to where it makes sense that their views and outlooks are changing. If it's not like that, it's just an arbitrary, change, then obviously that's jarring and that's shitty, and we don't want that. We want these things to be led into gradually and cohesively, you know what I mean?
Right.
But like, Deku wanting to save Shigaraki makes... I clowned it when it happened in the moment, but then the conversation that we had obviously opened my eyes to how much it made sense, and I haven't looked back ever since. You know what I mean? And I ultimately do want Deku to save Shigaraki. I don't want Shigaraki to be reformed by the end of the series and be a friend of anyone. I definitely do want him to atone entirely for everything that I definitely do think that he deserves, the worst penalty possible inside of this universe. You know what I mean? I can't see Deku killing him. I can't see any, and Deku is going to be the one to face off with him at the end. So like, yeah, I think that Shigaraki should be saved. I think that he's in a situation that he didn't ask for. I think that yes, his situation started at a very young age, where before he really knew anything, you know what I mean? So you could easily say that All For One's influence, he could plead insanity and get and win, you know what I mean? In court, you know what I mean? So if that's the case, yes, throw him in a fucking loony bin and get him the help that he fucking needs. But All For One, yeah, but are they even going to kill All For One? You know what I mean? Sure.
But yeah, and these are all super great questions. I think generally, like, I think the interesting thing about the end of this chapter here, as we've said, as we've very thoroughly gone through, right, is that this is the turning point. You know what I mean? For this plot narrative, right? Like, this next chapter, or rather the scene following this, where we continue this conversation, is Horikoshi's opportunity to take this in any direction he wants, right? He could do away with the Deku quote. He could double down on the Deku quote. He could make it like even more nuanced and difficult and more challenging of a situation. Like, there's tons of ways this could go. And woo, damn.
Okay, let's just, since we know that there's a litany of ways that this can go, what do you think is your preferred path? Based on everything that we've thrown out so far.
I really want the training.
Yeah, I know, dude. I think I want that the most.
That'd be so sick. Like, just it'd be fun. I love training montages personally.
Maybe we get that regardless of the answer.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
I feel like
setting that one aside. I guess I would pick. I guess I would pick the like some sort of exposition around All for One, right? Like that. Yes, like you have good thinking here. Like that's a hero's motivation. I love it. But there may come a time where that is off the table, right? You got to get prepared for that, or you have to get moving quicker or whatever. Something along those lines.
Oh, you want to know what? Yeah, I think I'm very confident that this is the way that I personally think that this is going to go. Can you kill Tomura Shigaraki? No, I was thinking I was going to save him. Great, we agree. We saw what happened when this vestige space was shared. We see that dude doesn't want to be there. He's not there of his own volition. He's been manipulated his whole life. This is my grandson. Obviously, I want him out of there too.
Right.
So we agreed that we're not going to kill Tomura Shigaraki. Can you kill All for One then? You know what I mean?
Oh, good. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Like can you kill at all if you need to? You know what I mean?
Yes,
like, do you think you want to kill Tomura Shigaraki right now? If you would have said, yeah, I want to kill Tomura Shigaraki, then I probably would have told you, like, look, this is the situation. You know, I don't know how you missed it, but like, bro is not supposed to be there. Let's get him out of there.
Yes.
You know, and then you can kill All for One. Cool. You're already in the mindset that you want to kill somebody. Kill the one you're supposed to. I get, but I think it's more realistic that he goes, no.
Yeah.
And then they go, okay, great. We don't have to. That's awesome.
Right.
But All for One needs to die.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Wow. Woo, boy. Can't wait. Next chapter. Do you think we'll come back to the vestige space next chapter? Or do you think we go somewhere else?
That's a hard one. I'm gonna say we're gonna stick in the vestige space just because I personally want it to happen. So we'll go with just what I want to happen.
I want to stay here until they say image training. Then you can go wherever the fuck you want, because then that means we come back X amount of chapters later and Buddy is, you know what I'm saying, Yishi wound type, you know, with the all of that shit. You know what I mean? I need that. I need that.
Yep.
Hell yeah. I think I'm good on Hero though this week.
Yeah, me too.
Massive chapter, man. Wow. All right. Getting into the piece de resistance. One Piece Wa. Chapter 1006. Do we have a title? Oh yeah, The Honorable Hyogoro the Flower. Cover double spread is drastic, bro. Look at the squad.
Oh man.
I didn't know Black Maria was blonde. Did we know that?
I don't know if we knew. I don't remember that.
I remember we have
seen some of these colors before.
Yeah, we knew.
We've seen
Ulti. Pink.
We've seen Ulti before.
This is great to see all of them.
Yeah.
On this spread, like I feel like I'm gonna make this my new like wallpaper on my computer. One Piece spreads are so good for that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man! This is the first time I'm seeing a lot of these. I didn't know Jack was blonde. I know that we knew that already. Like this is my first time like remembering it, I guess.
Yep.
So many blondies.
Yeah, very interesting.
Like just a lot of blondies for a One Piece like crew. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right, getting into the chapter.
Yeah.
This is a lot. Like the chapters have been, because it's a literal war.
Yep.
But as far as one thing that I wanted to say, people have been talking about this arc and the conflict inside of it. And obviously comparisons to Marineford are being made because this is like the first like big like large scale war kind of situation you know, since then. And as far as narrative impact goes, I feel like people are thinking that this can't possibly hold up to Marineford no matter what happens. And I don't want to say that I agree with that, but at the same time, it's like Marineford, what made it so crazy is that everyone was there. Everyone from the show, you know, that mattered up until that point was there.
Right.
This is a very arc specific conflict that's like kind of up on that Marineford level. So if you are expecting it to be like Marineford, then like you just have to know that like in scale, you know, this is all contained in Wano and we don't know who else is going to pull up. Scale, it's not going to reach that level because it's not Ace's life on the line. It's not literally every player. You know what I'm saying? So like as far as that expectation goes, I don't even know why comparisons to Marineford are even being made in the first place, to be honest with you, because
it's just because it's a war, probably.
This just could never like reach, you know, those check boxes ever because those players aren't there. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is literally just like arc-specific characters and the Straw Hats, and then Marco. You know what I mean?
Right,
and then obviously the Big Mom pirates are there. But like ultimately, like this is not the same kind of situation as Marineford. The reason why most people have a Marineford up there is because of those factors. Those factors don't exist here. So like, of course it's not going to feel like Marineford, and it's not supposed to feel like Marineford. It's literally just another war. This should be looked at kind of on its own. It's a completely different situation. So I just want to throw that out there.
Especially with like, one of the highlights of Marineford obviously being Ace's death, right? One of the biggest moments in not just One Piece, but in manga history, right? It's like the volume with Ace dying, probably still is, but at one point it was like the best-selling volume of anything ever. You know what I mean? Just like very impactful moment in history. And this arc does not seem like it would be that kind of emotional, you know what I mean? Like this arc has been world building, you know, like the prophecy, how you know, Odin and Roger and Whitebeard and you know, like Wano is like a very crucial piece of the puzzle to the end game of the series. It's not the same. I agree with you. It's not really the same situation as Marineford.
But you get all of that like important players all involved, you know, in the backstory kind of like situation, not in the action. Like all the characters in the story were there and involved in Marineford, and that's why it's so epic. You have links to the entire history of the series inside of Wano, inside of that Odin flashback. That's where that, you know, grandiose potency comes from in this arc, not in the combat. You know what I mean? Like those players just aren't there. Like when you look at Wano as a whole, you'll see that it still does scratch all of those itches, just not all in the same area, you know, that Marineford did. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But yeah, great pointing out that you know, that previous history of Wano stuff, because that plays into it a lot. You know what I mean? And this situation is still very tense. It is still very much a war. It is the same kind of high octane that we saw in Marineford. It's just not all the players are there. You know what I mean? So I still think that Oda is doing everything he needs to be, but I don't think that this is supposed to be, you know, something that is directly compared to Marineford just because it's a large scale battle. You know what I mean?
And who knows, like maybe Blackbeard will roll up, maybe the Revolutionary Army will roll up. Like
and then it really does get Marineford eventually. But I think that like a lot of, you know, that Marineford feeling came from the fact that we knew that Ace was that major plot point from the beginning. Now, Shanks could pull up at the same time as Blackbeard, have a fight at the end, Blackbeard kills Shanks, and now you have that huge narrative weight of a massive death, you know, on the arc the same way Marineford had. But even then, it's not like we were dangling Shanks in front of you the whole arc and then he died. You know what I mean? So it's just not the same. It could never be the same kind of situation because you don't have all of that setup and that plot buildup. This is all self-contained Wano stuff. And sure, there are threads from previous, you know, arcs leading up to it, but it's not the same kind of lead up. It's not.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so Sparrow's goof ass. God damn it. I mean, we're kind of skipping over some things here, but this is just like the first major point that I wanted to make is I hate this motherfucker. Keep your hands off Carrot.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And Wanda, damn you.
And Wanda.
Shit.
Man, bro. And the way he's talking shit the whole time, like, and she just can't do anything. And then he walks away. No one comes in and saves the day. No one, nothing. Just talk your shit, smack her down, and walk away. Sparrow wins? No, damn it.
I feel like it's also frustrating because like the only reason he can talk shit is because there's clouds. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's clouds in front of the moon. They couldn't do their Sulong, and it's like, oh, what a shame for you, Moonlight Warriors. You know, like your victory requires the luck of the weather above, and it's like, fuck you. You would have got wasted if it was a cloudy, if it's clear sky or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
But this is setting up Nami to have an amazing moment.
Just clear the skies.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh man.
Yeah. Oh, you blew it. Reminded me that you know what I'm saying? A lot was going on. You know what I'm saying? But you're over. I can just see the scene now. Sparrow. Like, where's Carrot? Like, oh, Carrot. You mean the one that could only be strong when the moon was out? Well, guess what? The weather took that away. So I beat her ass, and she's probably bleeding out somewhere now. Nami was like, whoa, shouldn't have told me that the weather is the reason why you won because you know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, like 17 pairs of Sulong eyes just like appear behind Sparrow. I can see it right now. Oh man.
so good.
Yeah, I hope we get something similar to that eventually.
Right.
In the story.
Hyogoro, oh my god,
dude.
like seeing him all beef, oh damn, like, and I love the explanation, right? Like the virus, because a virus is, like feeding off your body in a sense, right? Like it's growing and multiplying inside you. It's and turning you into like this, Oni, this frost Oni, and like your body is fighting it, so it's like hyping yourself up, right? It's like your body's working overtime, and working in overtime has triggered him into becoming like his peak strength, as if he were younger. Like, oh, cool, damn.
Right, and it's cool, but I love how Oda keeps reminding us that there is an intense caveat to this, that like he is using the rest of his life energy.
Yes,
what I mean. So whether he just burns his life energy out from fighting in this form, or the Oni, ice overcomes him, or he's beheaded by one of his people, he's done after this, essentially, is kind of what Oda is telling us. Now, Oda doesn't like to kill characters, we know that.
Right.
But I feel like he's literally laying it out to say, like, yo, I know I don't kill characters, but like there's 3 major factors here that I'm giving you guys that let us know that this Hyogoro dude should probably die here. Now, the cliffhanger obviously sets up that like not dying like I'm pretty sure this is going to turn the page into Chopper being like last minute like I got it, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's gonna set up Chopper.
Throws a syringe at him.
That's gonna set up Chopper in an amazing way, and it's gonna be awesome and epic for his character. But then like even if Chopper fixes him with the syringe full of the vaccine, then he's still got the I used the rest of my life force in this form situation, you know what I mean? So what does Chopper do about that, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And so I'm very curious as to how Oda like handles this, because I think it would be so lit if Chopper's like, yo, I did it, you guys, I got the cure, everyone gets a syringe, Hyogoro, you get a syringe, you know what I'm saying? Oprah's it, right? Saves everybody. But then Hyogoro's like, bro, you're the best, you did it, but like this is not something your syringe could have saved. I made this choice to go out on my sword, you know what I mean? Like go out on my shield rather, you know what I mean? And you're an amazing doctor, but you didn't save this one for reasons outside of your control. Don't feel bad about it.
Don't feel bad.
And then you have a situation where Chopper's like, but I saved you. You know what I mean? Like, no, you know what I mean? Like, that's going to be an amazing, if that doesn't happen like that, that's an amazing moment for Chopper. He still saved the day, but has an amazing growth catalyst in the form of someone literally dying in his arms for the first time as a doctor. That'll be huge for fucking Chopper, bro.
That would be huge. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. I don't want it to happen, but like, I just don't see how he lives through this just because of the vaccine.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that's just the headcanon situation I created that like makes it sad, but still makes it amazing for everybody involved. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I love like as we're getting this Hyogoro stuff, one of the things I really loved is that he referred to Luffy as his apprentice. You know what I mean? Obviously he taught him Ryo, but like, God, it just feels so good. It just feels so good.
And this is just another hard confirmation, to go into the bucket of times where Luffy just always runs into the person he needs to run into at the time that he needs to learn the thing that he needs to overcome his issue, whether that's an enemy or an ally. It goes back to that line of dialogue from Mihawk that says, this is the scariest superpower that I've ever seen in my time on any battlefield. This motherfucker just has the power to rally anyone to his cause. Thank God I'm on Shanks' team type shit, you know what I'm saying? Because this motherfucker is a problem if we don't stop him right now type shit, you know what I mean? And like, I love thinking back to that because now you can just like, count him down, you know what I mean? Fucking Garp. All of his mentors, over time. Garp, Rayleigh, you know what I'm saying? Fucking, I can't even remember them all. Hyogoro, obviously. I'm pretty sure there's some other ones like sprinkled in there that he learned a bunch from that he credits as mentors to some degree. But it's just so great getting that line of dialogue, my apprentice, him acknowledging him in that way. That's very wholesome, but it also does tie back to that line of dialogue with Mihawk, and that just makes it slap so much harder, especially here in wartime. You know what I mean? So,
hell yeah.
Oda's continuity shines throughout all the chaos, through all the holy shit what's going on. really tight continuity, like points of continuity like that still are remembered by Oda, and it's just amazing. You know what I mean?
Love it.
Dude, Marco this chapter though.
Marco! So badass. Oh man.
Two commanders at once.
Yes.
Flexing on them. Pew, like tennis, Wimbledon. They're flying all across the battlefield, back and forth, roundhouse kicks from fucking Marco, dude. Like, wow, and they're trying. Like, they're trying. They're sweating. Obviously, we haven't seen either of their hybrid forms yet, but still, like, they're stressing because of Marco, you know what I mean, by himself, you know, and he's been doing other things beside. He's tussling with Pero Sparrow, you know what I'm saying? He's came in and helped Nami and Usopp, you know, a couple times, wall boxing everybody. Marco, man, see, this is Oda going, hey, I know we showed you the Whitebeard pirates first, and I know you kind of like have this idea of like my storytelling style showing you weaker characters first and stronger characters later, but like Marco's still that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like we've shown you Shanks' crew a little bit. You've seen the Whitebeard pirates in action. Marco was going crazy during Marineford, you know what I'm saying? But that situation was a little bit different. Versus one other crew, Marco is different, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like Marco, this was all just matchups and circumstances. That's what power scalers need to understand. Sure, it's easy because there's such a hierarchical, you know, an established hierarchy in the series that you can go, okay, well, this character, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, a lot of it is matchups, man, and you're seeing it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure,
this can go anywhere Oda wants it to, depending on who he places next to who at any given moment. You know what I'm saying? Like and I love him for this because I didn't want to think that One Piece was I didn't want to feel like I could expect strength levels based on, you know, at what point Oda decided to introduce characters. And it is true to a certain degree that the threats have been increasing as time goes on. But this is just a moment of Oda going like, yo, these guys are all still relative, you know, despite you meeting Marco 300, 400, 500 chapters ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just love that. I love that.
I love like King cuts his wing off.
Yes.
In the Phoenix.
Yeah,
form.
I was so confused about this like spread of what's happening, like this little stretch of illustration.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, like let's go through it, I suppose. Yeah. So like he does some sort of like ranged attack on page 14 against Queen, right? Phoenix Brad, and it's like, damn, okay. So big hit there, great. He dodges the laser beam from Queen. Okay, King cuts his wing off
as he's dodging, slices his wing off. Then we get, you know, a panel of, you know, the peacock feathers or whatever. I'm assuming, I don't know what the relevance of that
Phoenix feathers, but yeah.
Or the Phoenix feathers. Yeah, I don't know the relevance of that panel. Maybe it's just like the wings or the feathers, you know, just kind of flying
interesting
away.
Because he's in Phoenix form, right? Maybe this is like showing he's transforming out of Phoenix form. Anyway, at the bottom of the page, he's not in Phoenix form anymore.
He flies back to that ledge and taps on it, and now he's in like a hybrid kind of form.
It's as if the flame that the wing was, he is now manipulating. He's has the two fingers, and he's taking that flame.
Oh yes.
Of the wing, and he's vroom, growing it, and then throwing it, shooting it with a punch.
Okay, so this is him manipulating the severed wing.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that makes it feel a lot better. Yeah, absolutely. Because I had no idea like what was. I was like, man, I'm just gonna have to wait for the anime. You know what I'm saying? To like kind of like show me what's going on here. But yeah, he slices his wing off. Then the part of him that's still completely intact flies over to the ledge. He taps there. Then he uses his other hand to kind of like conjure that one feather that seems to be manipulating the rest of the wing that was cut off and severed by, you know, King, and then turns it into a bluebird and then shoots it at King.
Now this page 17 where like King has already been destroyed into this building, and then we get the knee. The aspect ratio, like the zoom in on the knee, the perspective, it looks so fast.
Yes.
Like I feel like this is like maybe the fastest looking of anything in One Piece so far.
Yeah,
right?
This is an amazing like you could just feel that this is immediately like boom, he hits the fucking thing. And then as soon as he opens his eyes and was like, what just happened to me? The knee is right here. You know what I mean?
So the speed of this is obviously faster than this previous scene, but it reminds me a lot of the first gear second scene, right?
Yes.
Where Yami or Misairu.
Yes.
And like slams like
Stampu Yari Misairu. Yeah. Stamp into the spear into the missile. Yes. Oh my. And then he grabs both the blue nose horns too for the missile. Oh. Peak One Piece choreography. I just want to say that right there. But now we're feeling that again right here, you know what I mean? And then boom, he hits him with the knee. And then, and then Queen is like, "All right, I'm back in the fight." Nope, boom, and then you're out the window. And that's what I'm talking about with Wimbledon. It's like boom, boom, this way to the left, to the right. You know what I mean?
So after he obliterates Queen again, on page 18, now we do see he has his arm, right? The left wing that was cut off. He does still have his arm,
right?
But
he doesn't flying with one. He only has one phoenix wing. Yeah,
right. And you can see that it's very small, but on the very top left of 18, you can see him with one wing flying, and he kicks Queen or whatever. So he obviously in the larger panel on 18. So he still has the one wing. I assume he'll get that back eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? It's probably just a matter of time. It's like, you're a phoenix, you can regenerate from everything, but we should probably put a cooldown on this after you take damage, so that you're literally not just, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yep. Ooh, but goddamn, Marco's so fucking cool.
Marco's so fucking cool, bro. This is such a treat because it's like I was someone who thought that the Marco scenes that we got at the beginning was all of the Marco we were going to get, because Oda will do that, you know what I'm saying? He'll give you a cold-blooded ass scene, I wonder what that's about, and then not come back to it for hundreds of chapters or maybe ever, you know what I mean? So that's just all you get. But Marco definitely came back here, and he is flexing harder than I ever expected him to, even after knowing he was back. You know what I mean? Once he comes back, you're like, okay, he's here. But what's he really going to do? I'm sure he's going to be there. He'll do something cool here. But no, fighting both top-ranking commanders by himself when everyone's and it could, like I said, they're not in their hybrid forms yet. You know what I mean? And, but everyone is speculating who's going to fight Queen, who's going to fight King. Is it going to be Zoro on King? Is it going to be Sanji on Queen? No, it's Marco versus both of them. You know what I mean? And that's just so...
If anyone called that, hats off to you.
Yeah.
Because I did not think that he was going to take both of them. Yeah.
Right. And this is obviously a situation that's showing, opponents switching constantly. And when it all comes down to it, eventually dust will settle, and it will just be the strongest people left. Yeah.
It will only be Marco.
Just Marco. But no, obviously the dust will settle. All of the fodder will have been taken out or converted to an ally or whatever. And then it's going to be the strongest people left. And who they're fighting. You know what I mean? So eventually we'll get to that. But right now, while all the chaos is going, this is just so funny for headcanons. You know what I mean? Because everyone was so sure multiple times throughout this what the matchups were going to be. And they've switched 5 times since the conflict started. And it's just so funny.
I have no illusions of trying to know who's going to be final matchups. You know what I mean? I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah, I'm literally just I'm here to see what Oda says. You know, but oh my god, let me just click back through here and see if I make sure I remember everything. I love. Oh yeah, Sanji. Hey, which way is the sealed storeroom? Near the Skull Dome. All right, so that'd be the opposite direction of Kinemon's group. So I have 2 places that I could be. Which side needs me more right now? This way or that way? This way. And he goes a direction. Which way do you think he went?
I think he's going to Momonosuke, Yamato, and Shinobu. Yeah. But I think it's literally impossible to know. I really don't. If anyone wants to throw me a good comment with exactly line by line, every 10 pieces of evidence or something, you know what I mean? For why he's going in one direction. But I don't know. It's very hard to say.
I can see someone looking at this panel where it says this way and just looking at the art in the panel, seeing that the dash is going deeper into the panel rather than towards us. And just mapping out the entirety of the inside of Onigashima and finding his route.
You have a map for me? I will. Ooh, mega props. That's how you would do it. That's how you would do it. Right. I guess if I had to really say, right, the fact that he had a plan. He had a plan of going to Kinemon, And then, boom, all of a sudden, his plan has been interrupted with new information. Maybe he needs to go elsewhere. I think, obviously, then he's
that
going
means he's
elsewhere.
going elsewhere. Yeah,
right.
Good call. Absolutely. Wow. Let's see. Anything else? Momonosuke's face on the second page. That face he always makes when he's like really close to somebody. Like remember when he was on like Robin's titties coming out of the bathhouse, and all of a sudden Sanji and Kinemon and Brook are like, "What are you doing, kid?" And he's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
God, I love that face. Oh yeah, and then Hyogoru's attack. I love the panel of his attack with the Mimawari Gumi. Okay, so the Mimawari Gumi situation. This is Orochi's like samurai guard. And they've been like kind of like lightly touched on since the beginning of the arc. Like this is Orochi's officers. We haven't really seen them do anything but just stand there the entire time. And then like Orochi, you know, gets beheaded and they're like, all right, well, I guess we're switching teams then. And then like that's the next time we see him, but they still don't do anything. And then now where they're finally like, we're the Mimawari Gumi, let's do this. And they just get one-shotted by Hyogoro. And I can't help but think that like my idea of how I thought samurai were going to be shown in this arc was like, we have the samurai, the 9 scabbards. Those are obviously the most important ones. But I guess I was just expecting more antagonistic samurai to matter. You know what I mean?
And I mean, like you get the badassery of samurai in the scabbards, right?
Yes.
And
absolutely.
so then I mean, look at this dude on the top right of 12, right? Like this Mimawari Gumi guy. Yeah. He's got like the toothpick, you know, the super classic samurai like thing in his mouth. He's got sunglasses. He looks like he's so cool, right? And he obviously thinks he's badass as hell, right? Like, let's see this legend. Maybe he's meant to be a campy samurai like villain, like a failure, right? Like we've never seen him activate. Maybe he never will. Maybe none of the Mimawari Gumi will activate, and they're meant to be like Orochi, right? A failure, a subpar charade of being a samurai, of being a feudal lord, right? They're fakes.
Maybe the only good samurai that we'll see, or the only worthwhile samurai that we see, are the protagonist samurai on purpose. Yeah.
Yes. Could be.
Yeah. I just remember being like so hyped to see like what the antagonistic samurai forces were like. We got Ashura Doji in the beginning and we didn't really know what he was, but then he fought Jack and he did really well against Jack. So so I'm like, oh, the samurai are a different breed in this motherfucker. What? Like this is what random burger fat samurai is on? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, wait a minute. Before I knew he was cold, before I knew he was a scabbard, you know what I'm saying? I was like, who the fuck is this motherfucker? But he's doing this against Jack, so that like set my expectations for Samurai and Wano like up here, you know what I'm saying? And then you find out Ashura Doji is the scabbard and you're like, okay, that makes sense. He folded Jack, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, absolutely make him a protagonist on the scabbard side. Great. But then like where's like any other samurai threats outside of the scabbards, you know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, we ain't getting that? Like, I'm sitting here thinking this is the arc where Zoro's gonna have like 18 fights. He's gonna fight a gang of fucking samurai, you know what I mean? Like, but this is what we got, and it's great, you know what I mean? Like, regardless of what I thought it was supposed to be, I'm sure everybody had a million different expectations for the samurai arc, you know what I mean? But
for sure.
But I think, despite my expectations being shattered, I love this. A lot of people might be mad about that. I love this.
Oh no,
because Oda always does things way better than I thought he would. That I was expecting. You know what I mean? So I'm just here for the ride.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But are you good? Are you good on One Piece?
Yeah. Okay. That's all I had. Fantastic chapter as usual.
Fantastic chapter as usual. Fantastic conversation as usual. And thank you all so much for watching. If you did, slap a like on the video. If you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. If you're new here, hit the notification bell next to it so we can chirp you when new content is live. Also, make sure you visit the description section. Like we said at the beginning of the show, that's going to be where you find us on all of our individual social media accounts, ways that you can join online communities like Discord and listen to the Project Manga podcast wherever you normally listen to your podcast. There's also going to be a link down there to our online store and our Patreon if you would be so inclined to support what we do here. Be sure you check those out. But with all that said, I think that'll do it for this episode of the Project Manga Podcast. Wrapping up, I'm your host, Knox.
I'm Nickums.
Catch y'all next time.